He's amazing.
But in the end, you got to go with what you think is right within the context of the game.
Was that as good as you've seen Montgomery all year?
It was good. I thought he got into a good rhythm as he went, and I loved his pace. I thought he worked quickly. I thought his stuff got better as the game went along. So probably this year, yeah. Although I feel like he's been throwing the ball okay, I thought that was another step. But you saw his fastball, kind of life to the fastball, I felt like improved as the day went on. He pitched well. He gave us, 6 strong enough to, we need to make that stand up.
What made Pineda so tough early?
Just mixing. He's a little funky arm action mixing, but, we just, we need to give ourselves better chances there. I felt like in the 5th inning, we finally put together some good at-bats against them, and Jose, hits the ball about as good as he can here to center, which, so I thought at least in that inning we strung together some quality at-bats against them, just couldn't break through.
What did you think about the...
Coming in up, Hicks.
Yeah.
What do you think of the lack of execution, I guess, there, just top of the order?
You mean late?
Late.
Yeah. Late. Yeah, I mean, that's, a golden opportunity for us. And, just unable to capitalize. Soto came in and executed. But, when you're struggling to score runs or, you're not hitting the ball in the seats like we haven't on this trip, you got to take advantage of the opportunities you get, and we were able to do that.
Lack of home runs. What can you point to with that?
I don't know. I just, first, I think we have been pitched tough, but, that's obviously a part of our game and something that we got to get going. But when you're not doing that, and you do get opportunities, you got to take advantage.
All right, so take a look at the fewest runs scored through 13 games. Jack, you mentioned this off the top, just 39 runs scored. The worst it ever was is in 1913 with just 32 runs. A lot of those teams that you see, they did turn things around and eventually got things going. Listen, to the Yankees' credit in that 5th inning, they tried the hit and run. It worked. They just couldn't back it up. They backed it up with a couple fly balls.
I thought what Boone said at the end of the interview there was the most important thing, Bob. The Yankees have 2 home runs in their last 7 games. They're a power-hitting team. That power will come. Judge and Stanton and Gallo probably aren't going to remain as anemic in the power department as they have been so far. But when you aren't getting those home runs, productive outs and smart at-bats become so much more important. Now, he talked about Trevino's shot to center field in the 5th inning that ended the inning. Marwin Gonzalez hasn't gotten a lot of at-bats. He hasn't gotten a lot of playing time, but he's up 1st and 3rd with 1 out. All you need there is a sacrifice fly, and though he got the ball in the air, he only hit it 250 feet. Fast forward to the 8th inning. They've got 1st and 3rd, no outs for Aaron Hicks, who's been one of their best hitters. Again, get a ball in the air, and you've got to run to tie the game. He hits a pop-up to the left side. That allows Hinch to go in and bring out Soto, who just comes in throwing bullets out of the bullpen, and they are able to get out of that inning. So when you are struggling offensively, every at-bat is so precious, every opportunity is so precious, and the Yankees simply did not come through with a big hit.
It's interesting. If they're going well, I could throw a question at you and say, who squared up a ball today? You could give me probably 5 guys, right? Who squared up a ball today? Trevino and probably Donaldson, and that's about it. And that, they want to hit strikes hard, but they're not really doing that right now. They're not squaring them up where they do damage.
Yeah, other than those 2 that you just mentioned, I would really have to search my scorebook right there to think of somebody who tattooed a ball or, as you said, hard hit, squared it up. And again, it was against Michael Pineda, who has had some success as a pitcher, and a guy who can spin the ball with his slider and has a nice fastball changeup combination. But you would have thought that this Yankee offense would have been able to do more damage than it did today. And going forward, this is something that has to change quickly. The Yankees are 7-6, chiefly because their pitchers have been so good. And then you waste a performance as you did today when Montgomery goes out there and just almost totally shuts down the Tigers, but gets 0 offensive support.
All right, let's take another break. We got more coming up here on the postgame. When we come back, speaking of Montgomery, we're going to take a closer look at his outing and why he was able to quiet the Tigers' bats for 6 innings. Stick around.
It's not about where the road takes you. It's about
Could you scooch up, please?
Who are you?
I'm with Edmunds. Legroom is one of the many features we evaluate to help folks find the car that's right for them. You know, stuff real people care about.
I'm a real person.
Sure you are.
Can I still smolder?
Yeah, just smolder with your seat up.
For unbiased research, reviews, and industry expertise, go to Edmunds First. We drive it like it is.
We're all on our own journey towards achieving our dreams, but we don't have to do it alone. Luckily, I found Zen Business, and they flawlessly helped me navigate all the required filings with the state.
Personally, I was feeling a bit overwhelmed until I found Zen Business. Their all-in-one platform made the whole process so easy. Entrepreneurs like us know how big a relief it is to have someone there to handle all of this business stuff so we can stay focused on growing our business.
Check them out and get your business started at zenbusiness.com/TV.
And yours to be proud of. Ram, J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality.
During Ram Truck Month, get 0% financing for 72 months on 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn and Laramie Crew Cab models.
Here's to the heroes, our teachers, nurses, firefighters, and volunteers. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And now, your local Hyundai dealer wants to thank them with a brand new 2022 Hyundai Tucson. And the hero in your life could win it. Visit HyundaiSaluteToHeroesNY.com to enter them. And tell us why they deserve special recognition. Because heroes make everyone's journey better.
We gotta tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. And we gotta do it fast.
Woo! New personal record, Limu!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Another reminder that the Yankees will be right back in action tomorrow when they open a 3-game series at the stadium against Cleveland, and Yankees on Prime Video will have the action. First, Meredith hosting their pregame at 6:30, and then the game will start a little after 7 o'clock when Jameson Taillon faces a Guardians lineup that has been one of the most potent in baseball so far this year. Well, Jordan Montgomery has been one of the best pitchers so far for the Yankees. It's our Cadillac pitching performance. Jack, his third start coming against the Tigers, and he went deeper than any Yankee has so far this season into a game.
Great mix of pitches. The curveball is always there. He gets Meadows on that. Here's the only run against him. He leaves a changeup up in the zone. Grossman gets up and gets it. Delivers Castro with the RBI double. Montgomery, who has been starved for runs throughout his Yankee career, must be wondering, here we go again. Back on track, though, in the fourth. There's that curveball to whiff Cabrera, keep him at 29.99. He gets Meadows again with that feeble swing. That was a sinker. Sixth inning, 1-2-3. And again, it's a sinker up in the zone to get Cabrera. And Meadows, who had a 2-run single late in the game, he was glad when Montgomery was out of this game, because here's one more look at that curveball. Just not timing it, not seeing it out of Montgomery's hand. That was a solid performance from Montgomery, as good as the Yankees have gotten from the start of this year, outside of maybe that Cortez start.
No runs, or 1 run allowed today. He allowed 1 run in each of his 2 previous outings, but the Yankees weren't able to score more than that, so he's 0-1 with a very tidy 2.5 ERA. Let's hear from Jordan Montgomery.
Jordan, what do you think allowed you to go deeper in this game today, the longest start for a starter this season?
Really just tried to attack the zone. Came out walking the first guy and settled in and tried to throw strikes with a bunch of pitches.
Jordan, say the offense has not been doing what they typically do. Does that put more pressure on the pitching?
Say that again?
The offense not doing as much as they normally do. Does that put more pressure on you guys?
No. Pitchers as a whole, we all know we got to go out there and just do our job, and we know our guys are trying their hardest. So if you think it like that, you probably could put extra pressure on yourself. But just trying to go out there and give us a chance to win.
What was it like facing Cabrera in those situations?
That third time was pretty exciting. I think he had a standing ovation. It got really loud, and I just wanted to make a pitch.
Does that affect you, the surroundings? And
No.
You're able to block that out?
Yeah.
Jordan, what do you like about facing someone like that? I mean, in your head, are you saying this is a first ballot Hall of Famer that I'm facing, and it's fun for you, or it's completely.
I wouldn't say it's fun facing Miggy because he's so good, but it's definitely exciting and it makes you up your game.
Is there some relief after every time you get him out because it's like, hey, it's not this at bat?
Not really. I'm not thinking about it like that. I feel like if I'd had, it would have been the next AB. So really was just trying to go after every guy individually.
All right, so Jordan Montgomery taking them out, doing what he needs to do. All he needs to do moving forward, Jack, is keep pitching the way he's been pitching.
If you're grading the Yankee players today, he gets more than a passing grade. He gets an A+. He did his job. Up and down the Yankee lineup, no one did his job. And I know pitchers are conditioned to giving the right answers, Bob, and not talking about the offense. It's just like a quarterback not talking about the defense when 40 points have been scored on the defense. But if you're Jordan Montgomery, it's now 21 straight starts when the Yankees have scored 3 runs or fewer for him. It's got to be inside your head a little bit that you can't make a mistake. And when you can't make a mistake, sometimes you have a tendency, say, to lean on a fastball because that's the pitch that's most reliable for you. But Montgomery, as I said, he was terrific out there today. A really important start for him to build on. He just has to hope the next time he's out there, the Yankees swing the bats.
We know the bullpen has been very good, too. You could throw Lucas Litke into that category. Today, he comes in, gets a much-needed double play with the bases loaded. Then the intentional walk to Miguel Cabrera before he faced Austin Meadows. Let's hear about that moment with Litke post-game.
You try to talk your way into.
No, I mean, that's Boone's decision. When Blake came out there, we were going over the game plan to face Cabrera. And then, that was Boone's decision, and rightfully so. We had a lefty on deck. We're trying to win a game where, as great as it is to see 3,000, we're not concerned of that as much as they are.
You expected it?
I assumed it was going to happen with the lefty being on deck, yeah.
Just what were those boos like? You can see you're having difficulty with the pitch comp system.
Yeah, I was just, if anything, trying to slow the game down after that because, if you get going fast and let the crowd get into it, then, it can kind of go downhill real fast there. So, to me, I was just taking my time just to kind of get the crowd out of the game just a little bit.
What is the feeling when you get those first 2 outs? You think you're going to get out of it right there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not planning on giving up a hit. It happened, I made my pitch. I got the contact I wanted. It just fell in the hole. Yeah.
Because runs have been hard to come by at times for this offense to start this season. Just how much pressure has that put on you guys in the bullpen?
To me, not a lot. Like, whether it's 10-0 or 1-0, I go out there thinking it's 1-0 or a tied game. So maybe to some guys it does, but, we try to keep the mentality no matter what the score is. Your goal is not to give up a run.
Well, the bullpen, the pitchers handling the pressure well of the Yankees struggling to score. Miguel Cabrera stuck on 29-99. We'll have more on today's ballgame coming up. Tigers winning at 3-0. See you back here after this.
Tomorrow, the Yankees and Guardians begin a 3-game set in the Bronx, and Yes gets you prepped with the Yankees pregame.
Aaron Boone is going to maneuver his lineup.
Then after the game on Prime Video, come back to Yes for a complete game breakdown and reactions from key players. Coverage starts tomorrow at 6:30 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
Getting the incredible iPhone 13 without T-Mobile makes as much sense as playing hide and seek in the desert.
Really, guys?
T-Mobile has more 5G bars in more places. And now, when you switch, you can get iPhone 13 on us at T-Mobile.
As a Main Street bank, PNC has helped over 7 million kids develop their passion for learning through our Grow Up Great initiative. And now, we're providing billions of dollars for affordable home lending programs as part of $88 billion to support underserved communities, including loans for small businesses in low and moderate income areas. So everyone has a chance to move forward financially. PNC Bank. See how we can make a difference for you.
I used to eat cake better. My mom always let us lick the beaters. Oh, the beaters. But she'd always turn them off first. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Sonic brownie batter and yellow cake batter shakes.
I mean, let's be honest, I still lick the spoon.
Ready for a triple play?
Starting this April, stream a triple premiere on the Yes app.
Watch 3 new shows
on 3 straight days.
Now we're cooking.
Each week, we're dropping fresh episodes of our unique new lifestyle shows.
So fresh, so good.
Tuesdays, get style
with off-field fashion.
And see the top FIT designers outfit some of the biggest names in the game.
Wow, everything that you've come out in has been stunning.
Wednesdays.
Get over the hump with Welllife NYC.
And go on a wellness journey to discover ways for living your healthiest life.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, there we go.
And Thursdays.
Get fed with Home Plate New York.
And take a culinary crawl with local celebrities to celebrate diverse city cuisines.
Pictures that way.
It's like kind of the coolest thing ever for me.
Stream 3 big premieres on 3 straight days.
It's fashion,
fitness,
and food. Streaming now, exclusively on the S app.
The leap of faith. Some hesitate, but not you. You don't ask what if. You embrace what's next with open arms. You don't question your decision. You double down. Because you know the thrill is worth it. Introducing the 2022 Telluride Nightfall Edition.
Well, tomorrow night after Yes's post-game show is finished, stay with us for the premiere of a half-hour special, Staten Island Ferry Hawks, the inaugural season. Nancy Newman introduces us to the newest baseball team in New York City, a member of the Atlantic League. She will have a look at how the franchise was born, plus interviews with some of the players, including Kelsey Whitmore, a member of the U.S. women's national team. Let's go back to the 8th inning of today's ball game and some frustration for Aaron Hicks, who came up with first and third in a one-run game, Jack, and nobody out.
You're ahead in the count here. You want to figure out a way to do some damage. And though Hicks gets a pitch up in the zone that he can drive, he hits it in the air, Bob, but he doesn't hit it to the outfield. It ends up being a pop out to short.
Then bottom half of the 8th, he's in center. It just looks like he was playing deep, as you said, and got a late break on that ball, and that drops with 2 outs and scores a pair.
Yeah, center field is 420 feet at Comerica, but when you watch that ball off the bat, it does look for a fraction of a second or more that Hicks is not moving toward the ball. That ball by Meadows, StatCast tells us, traveled 252 feet. So he did have a long way to go for that, and he came close to it. You mentioned with 2 outs, do you attempt a dive in that point? He's an above-average defensive outfielder, but that was a painful way to allow 2 runs to score.
Again, so frustration for Hicks in both halves of the inning. Let's start postgame with Hicks on his at-bat in the 8th.
What's the level of frustration there in that 8th inning? You have 2 guys in the bottom of the order get on, and you guys aren't able to get any runs across there.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely frustrating. You know, especially in that situation with no outs, I'm supposed to get the guy at least over or in, you know, and I wasn't able to do it.
Do you think that one was gone there in the 6th inning?
I mean, I felt I hit it pretty well, but obviously I didn't have enough to get out of the ballpark.
Overall, why do you think the offense has not really found its way yet this season?
Man, I really don't know. I know for myself, I feel like I'm just kind of putting a little bit too much pressure on myself, trying to get the job done, and I haven't been able to do it, and just making bad swing decisions on what exactly I want to do in the situation.
Do you think that could be the case collectively, especially with runners in scoring position, guys just trying to get those runs across?
Yeah, I mean, especially at the start of the season, you want to start off hot and you want to drive guys in, and it just hasn't been happening.
The lack of home runs, does that put more pressure on everyone as well, knowing that, you know, the power throughout the lineup hasn't been there like it typically is?
I mean, I think it's just a slow start as far as homers are concerned. You know, I know in the end, the results will be there.
So the power's certainly not there, Jack. Trying to get something going, and they tried that last 3 games with Aaron Hicks in the leadoff spot. Pretty much worked in the first 2. He had some good at-bats. Today, not the case. So you wonder if Aaron Boone moving forward will stick with that, because over the first week and a half, he kind of moved that leadoff position around a little bit.
Even with Hicks not getting any hits in the last couple of games, 0 for 8 as that graphic showed, he still has had some quality at-bats for the Yankees, more quality at-bats than many guys in the order, probably only DJ LeMahieu and Anthony Rizzo. You could tell how exasperated he is about that 8th inning at-bat. And, Bob, what I take away from that interview is when he told Meredith, I'm probably putting too much pressure on myself. Had about 100 conversations with Paul O'Neill about hitting, and the one thing he tried to remind himself when he got to the plate was eliminate all of the clutter from your mind. Just focus on the task at hand. Well, if you're putting too much pressure on yourself, if you're thinking, I've got to get this guy over, or I've got to hit this ball into the gap, you might be defeating yourself before the pitcher has even thrown the pitch. And I do wonder if this collective malaise from the Yankee offense is in part because a lot of players are feeling that way. Through 13 games, the Yankees have already been shut out 3 times.
All right, we got to take another break. More coming up as we talk about the offense, and then eventually we're going to look ahead to the 3-game series coming up against Cleveland. Stick around.
Welcome to the main event. Brooklyn is ready to take their series with the Celtics to the next level. Saturday night on Yes, the Nets look to heat up at home as this pivotal Game 3 tips off at the Clays.
That's a game the Nets have to have.
Game 3 coverage starts Saturday at 7 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
Touch and go. Handwriting recognition in the Audi A4. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Mussina is the only 250-game winner that has never won 20 games. One strike away. Broken back ground ball to Ransom. And Mike Mussina wins his 20th game at the age of 39. Mussina becomes the oldest player in baseball history to win 20 games for the first time.
Oh, you're doing it wrong, man.
What's wrong with action figures?
Nothing, except buying them without Capital One Shopping.
What's that, Samuel, Mr. L. Jackson?
Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them. Just download it to your computer.
Whoa, you're my hero.
Yeah, I can tell.
You like it?
I look good in miniature. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius.
What's in your wallet?
I don't say it like that, Devin.
Jamaica.
Best decision ever.
Feel the sand between your toes and the gentle waves of the sea on your skin. Feel the warm Jamaican breeze lift your spirits and nourish your soul. Escape to exactly what makes your heart beat. You will love every moment. Jamaica, heartbeat of the world. Let's go.
Own the elements. Quattro in the Audi Q5.
Let's go, buddy.
Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
We're back once again here on the WB Mason postgame. The Tigers beating the Yanks this afternoon at Comerica 3-0. You ever seen an intentional walk create such an uproar as today with Miguel Cabrera in the 8th?
No. Preceding a potential 3,000th hit, no. I go back to our old colleague, Buck Showalter, walking Barry Bonds in with the bases loaded once, but not as much animation and noise as we saw here. And Bob, we said this at the top of the show. This is the right baseball move strategy-wise. Aaron Boone played with Miguel Cabrera. He's got a heart. He's a human being. He understands the suspense and the drama. And right here, Cabrera's saying, calm down. And I mentioned that he said we got 3 games left. But Jerry Owens on Twitter pointed out to me, look at the scoreboard. We're winning 3-0. That's exactly what he is saying there, which tells you his focus is on the game. Win the game. He does have 3 more games, so maybe it was a double message. He's got 3 more games to get his 3,000th hit. I think the fans will be entertained over the next 24 to 48 hours.
You want to be entertained? Here's what Miguel Cabrera said after the game about it.
Miguel, were you not upset at all that they intentionally walked you? You understand?
No, my own base portion is getting up. It's really good. And we scored 2 runs over there, so that's big. That's a beauty of baseball.
Just pass the baton. That's kind of what he's saying right there, and he's just happy they got the win. They didn't get swept.
Baseball will miss Miguel Cabrera. Whenever he decides that he's not going to play anymore and he has a contract with the Tigers for next year, and then there are vesting options for the 2 years after that, whenever he decides he's not going to swing a bat anymore, we're all going to miss him because you are supposed to have fun while you're playing this game. Yes, it's a business. Yes, players are paid millions of dollars, but here's one of the premier right-handed hitters of all time. And as folks are asking questions that could lead to a potential controversy, he is diffusing it by understanding it was a baseball move. And then, Bob, he's even got a pretty good one-liner there about worrying about his on-base percentage. So bravo to Miguel Cabrera. I have a feeling in the next couple of days, you and I will be talking about a highlight of him getting his 3,000th hit.
Absolutely. All right, Cleveland's coming to town. Don't forget, the Guardians will be in the Bronx for the opener of a 3-game series tomorrow night. The Yankees on Prime Video will have the coverage. First up, it's the pregame at 6:30, hosted by Meredith, followed by first pitch a little after 7 o'clock. Entering today, the Cleveland offense had 62 runs scored this season, second most in the American League, behind the 65 of the Angels. All right, Jack and I are going to take one more break, and when we come back, a look ahead to the opener on Friday with Jameson Taillon trying to quiet the Guardians' bats.
It's amazing to think that my grandmother started Bigelow Tea right here in New York. And today, we're still a family company. And you have to remember, tea, that's all we do. So every cup counts. That means never compromising. My family won't let that happen. And our extended family, they give their all every single day. And our community, well, they expect that.
I want a cup of Bigelow Tea to be a moment just for you. That's what I hope for.
It feels like spring at the Home Depot. Time to stop and smell the roses. But why stop there? Let's smell the freshly cut grass. A little sawdust and lumber. Ooh, maybe a couple of steaks, too. And a little something for the patio. And then let's stop and smell those roses. Everything you need for spring at our best prices of the season at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Eleanor steals your heart. She was diagnosed at 5 weeks old, a type of leukemia, and it's associated with Down syndrome. She's been fighting against the odds since the day she was born. Talking to the doctors and nurses, they were on top of it. They got this, we got this, it's gonna be okay, and we're gonna get through this. Here, it's like a celebration of life. There's so much great stuff happening. The doctors and nurses are her best friends, and you can tell that they love her, and you could tell she loves them, and that relationship is just amazing. We're just so grateful for them.
It's your journey. Own it in the Hyundai Santa Fe. Lease an all-wheel drive 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe for $259 a month with new inventory arriving daily. Hurry in.
Great to have you back on the post-game show as we look ahead to Friday night in the Bronx, and the Yankees welcome the Cleveland Guardians to town. It's a game that'll be on Prime Video. Pre-game coverage starting at 6:30. Battle of right-handers, Eli Morgan against Jameson Taillon, followed by afternoon ball games on Saturday and Sunday. As for Taillon, another starting pitcher for the Yanks, just wants the beat to keep going on.
Almost got through 5 innings in his last outing, ended up with 4 2/3 through 69 pitches. It was a no decision, but the Yankees did win that game. And I think what we saw from Montgomery today, Bob, the Yankees are hoping that they continue to get that from their starters. This third time through the rotation, extending them out to higher pitch counts. But we could talk about the pitching and praise the Yankee pitching for the next hour. The issue with the Yankees right now is their offense, and they're going to have to figure out their offense and figure it out quickly because Cleveland, as you mentioned, sports a very strong offense of its own. Steven Kwan hitting at the top of the order, hitting almost 400, doesn't swing and miss. And then you have Jose Ramirez, who signed a 5-year, $124 million contract extension that doesn't start until 2024. He's got a tidy .830 slugging percentage right now. So, Yankees get a chance to go home, but they need to right themselves offensively and get some traction at home.
All right, we'll find out what happens starting Friday night, 6:30 pregame coverage on Prime Video. The game itself on Prime Video as well. And we'll have postgame coverage on Yes After. We thank you for joining us. Yanks fall 3-0 in the finale in Detroit. Now they're back home to take on Cleveland. See you again Friday night. Take care.
The first ever Genesis GV70. Proud to be named Motor Trend's 2022 SUV of the Year.
Some things in life are worth waiting for. A new heart shouldn't be one of them. And with the most innovative approach in transplants, we can find and deliver hearts to patients that other hospitals overlook, making us the #1 heart transplant center with the shortest wait times in the Northeast.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
It's a day game. They were showing, I watched the game, they were showing highlights all around day baseball. If something happened in the Yankee game, why should they be excluded? I think that'd be a poor job. Well, let's not show Yankee highlights. I mean, Peter, tonight, I'm not going to do it tonight because there's way more important games and the Devils are out of it. But usually in a normal set of circumstances, when I'm giving the out-of-town scoreboard, the first score I'll give is one of the other locals. Because I just figure that's kind of the symmetry. It's a Ranger game, and give a Devil or Islander. But but the Carolina game and the Pittsburgh game means more to the Rangers standings, and the Devils Sabres doesn't mean anything. So I won't do it tonight. But I don't stop from giving the score. Well, what if in the post-game show I'm mentioning that the Islanders are in overtime? Is that, am I doing the wrong thing, that people might turn off the post-game and go flip on the Islander game?
No, because the post-game is you're giving scores from around the league, too. But I guess, I don't think anybody's going to call Gary Met Boy. Only I get that kind of treatment. But I understand what he's saying, though. But you're right. It makes SNY look better that they go, okay, we'll show the Yankee highlight. We think our fan base is still going to stay with our game.
Yeah.
And by the way, welcome to Yes. They have rejoined us after the Yankee postgame.
I'll give you a better example.
Okay.
This year we have a sponsor that wants the play-by-play guy during the Ranger game. It's very difficult, but we try to find a way to do it. Of giving the out-of-town scoreboard.
Okay.
So it's during the game. So if the Islanders or Devils are in overtime and the Rangers are up 6-0, should I not give that score because people might flip over to the more competitive game? Or is that complete insanity and just do what normal people do? How about that?
So you're saying that Gary's wrong?
I think Gary. No, I'm a big fan of Gary. He's terrific. He was Met boy. That if I had to guess, that's Gary saying, I'm a Met guy, Met broadcast, why are we showing Yankee highlights? I would bet $1 million that was the reason. Not because he thought people were going to tune out. He's thinking, Met broadcast, Met network, why are we showing Yankee highlights? Absolutely, guaranteed.
Wow, that's a take.
Am I wrong?
I don't know, because to me that seems like so silly.
And I'm not even going to kill Gary for it.
Michael would ever...
Because Gary's got the luxury of being Met boy. He grew up a Met fan. He does Met play-by-play and doesn't have to be neutral because he doesn't do a talk show.
It's a great point. You're right. There is no downside.
Now, I don't think that he wanted that to go over the air. He didn't say it during the broadcast. He thought his mic was down. So is it okay for him to feel that way and mutter it where it was heard? I got no problem with Gary. I got a problem with the producer exposing him like that. They got to turn the mic down.
I'll tell you what, for all aspiring young broadcasters, and I hope it doesn't happen to me. It hasn't happened in 31 years, but it could. I think it happened once, but I didn't say anything really untoward. Just you got, if you have a mic near your face, you have to really believe that it's on, even if it's not. Number one, there could be somebody in the truck that hates your guts and would like nothing better than expose you. Number two, there are technical snafus where they think they've turned down the mic and it's not. Don't say anything when you have a mic near your face.
Happened to Howie Rose.
And in this era, more than anywhere, a lot of people are doing stuff from home. They're not in the room with a producer who can give them a look. You got to be really careful.
Yes. No, always assume the mic is hot. But again, Gary's playing to the room. Anyone that heard that during the broadcast or Met fans that don't care probably were asking the same thing. I'm sure Gary didn't appreciate it that it made the air, but I'm not going to kill him. But if Michael had done
Gary,
that, Michael, forget about it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, dear God.
You'd be written about.
I mean, Met fans would be waiting to lynch me.
You'd be written about in 3 papers.
And they might start another paper just to write about me.
But let's listen. I always lift the skirt. I had to,
lift it up and show it to me.
Get a call back. That you think, and I don't want to mention any names because you guys all know who they are. There are plenty of announcers in New York that are calling games for the team that they rooted for. You don't think they love the teams that they call the games for and want to do well? But they don't have a talk show where they have to be neutral, so they're allowed to be that way. So Michael's got to shut off what Sam Rosen, diehard Ranger fan, his whole life. He loves doing Ranger games. He's a Ranger guy. Gary's a Met guy. Who else am I forgetting?
Papa's a Giant guy. Really?
I'm not going to say.
I know he's a big Yankee guy. Usually when you're a Yankee guy, you're a Giant guy.
What about the Wheeze?
I always thought he was a Giant fan, but he told me he grew up a Jet fan, so maybe he just... He scrubbed his brain clean from when he grew up or whatever, but he might have been a Jet fan. I always thought he was a Giant fan.
What about with shoes?
I thought that's who you were talking about.
No, I was talking about
said
Papa.
No, but Papa, then you said something, Peter.
Oh, you were responding to me saying the Wheeze. I thought you were still talking Papa.
Who did you said the Wheeze?
Yeah, and I did mean Weasel Shoes.
Yeah, but he said he was a Jet fan, so he's a Jet fan. But the point is that if you don't have a talk show, and I'm not saying you got to be unabashed, but you don't think they're happy the team's winning?
I want to know something crazy.
And then it's okay, but if they take a talk show somewhere, now they've got to completely change who they are.
How am I a Jet fanboy?
Now, you want to know something crazy, Michael?
What's that?
Chris Carlin, secretly a huge Michigan State Spartan guy.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Hates the Scarlet Knights. Hates them.
That's not good.
Now, again, I feel I shouldn't say the Papa thing. I take it back. Diehard Giant fan his whole life.
So the only time I ever got caught, this was about 10 years ago. So in Toronto, the visiting television booth is right next to like the best suite on the suite level at Rogers Center. And the only thing between the two suites, or the broadcast suite and the fan suite, is a piece of glass. And there was a woman that had practically no clothes on. That was in the suite. And I just nudged Kenny, didn't say anything, as if to look at that. And it's during a commercial. We're off the air. And Kenny goes, "Oh yeah, look out," right? And I start laughing, and Mushnick picked it up and wrote about it. And the reason why that game was being carried by a lot of our affiliates in the upstate area, so they didn't have commercials sold. So they just ran a picture of the field with the mics live.
Wow.
I mean, imagine the stuff that we could have said. All we did, I was pointing out a woman that didn't have much clothes on.
Right. When I worked at Sports Phone, and Michael will remember this, we had satellite, but not the satellite DirecTV.
Satellite.
Like big. It was big, big satellite dishes on the roof, and you just have to put like T1, and you would see the satellite moving on. So we would get raw feeds of games around the country. And the things that you would see during commercial breaks, guys, were ridiculous. The cameraman looking through the crowd, trying to find like gorgeous women and zooming in, and the announcers going, "Holy!" And we saw that and laughed but that's kind of what went on back, 30 years ago. And now you can't because a lot of people have access. But before anybody really had access to that all went on.
I mean, look what happened to Tom Brenneman. I mean, what he said was reprehensible, but he thought he was off the air. So either somebody in the truck really doesn't like Tom Brenneman, and they kept the mic open, but what he said got him fired. He might not ever recover from that.
That's true.
I mean, I saw a story the other day. He's doing high school games in Cincinnati. It's the only work he can get.
Come on.
Yeah. This guy was calling, like, playoff games for Fox in football and baseball. So whenever there's a mic in front of you, kids, it's live.
Careful.
We'll be right back. Take more of your phone calls right on this live mic right here on Yes at 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide. It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
A Ford built for you, by you. Get yours. Built from the ground up with your choice of colors, wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want a head-up display and Escape, 7 GOAT modes in Bronco Sport, or a Ranger with best-in-class gas torque? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
Thanks to Montefiore, cancer won't be my last dance. I'm back on stage at the Washington Ballet. See my story at montefiore.org/Chiara.
Welcome to the Brooklyn is ready to take their series with the Celtics to the next level. Saturday night on Yes, the Nets look to heat up at home as this pivotal Game 3 tips off at the Clays.
That's the game the Nets have to have.
Game 3 coverage starts Saturday at 7 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
I let go of trying to control things that I had no control over, and that helped me find peace of mind.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
I was constantly stressed and worried. Now I approach each day with joy and gratitude.
In Al-Anon, families and friends of alcoholics find new ways to heal from the effects of a loved one's drinking.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. For information, call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Every drive is a joyride. The thrilling Audi sedan family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
It's NBA playoff time, so you know what that means. Mike, you keep making up fake stats.
63% of the time, he has 44%.
Sheila, keep thinking you're at the game.
Defense!
Uncle Rob, you keep living in the past.
Your shorts were shorter back then. A lot of thigh.
Me? I'm gonna keep loving these great offers from DraftKings and this dip.
Bet just $5 to get $150 instantly. DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Oh, he got that good wiggle.
The Earth's gravity changes in spring, when water moves in a mass-altering dance. Maybe that's why in spring, we're drawn in new directions, pulled out of hibernation and pushed into action. So be bold, make the shift, and gravitate to greatness.
Current eligible lessees get this low-mileage lease on this 2022 Cadillac XT5 for around $469 per month. Visit your local Cadillac dealer today.
The stars are out tonight.
This is so much fun to watch.
He put it into orbit.
Razzle dazzle. Oh, next level. Oh, shut it down. It's what champions are made of.
Baseball is back. It should be fun.
Defend your family's health and remove the risk. Go to fda.gov/health playbook.
You're watching Yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
This is your DraftKings Sportsbook Update, powered by VSiN. I'm Scott Seidenberg. We're about 12 days or so into the Major League Baseball regular season, and let's take a quick look at the Cy Young Award odds in the American League. Certainly, you got a guy like Shane Bieber, who has pitched well to start his season for the Guardians, but I'm looking further down on the list. How about Noah Syndergaard of the Los Angeles Angels? Syndergaard is off to a 2-0 start, and what I love the most about this guy is that he signed a one-year deal prior to the season. He is pitching for his future. If Syndergaard stays healthy, there's no doubt that this 2-0 start will not be a fluke, and he will put up elite numbers this year for the Angels, currently sitting at over 40-1 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the MLB, and this week new customers can bet $5 on any team and get $200 if they win. Use code YES when you sign up.
Now, one quick story about that Toronto incident, Don. I don't know if I've ever told you this off the air. Well, my boss at Yes, John J. Filippelli, was red hot at us. Really, really mad. And I remember we all were going out to dinner at a nice restaurant in Toronto that night. It was a day game. And he had me on the phone and was reading me the riot act. And finally, he says, I don't understand it. He said, how could you do something like this? He goes, how could the both of you do something like this? Kenny's just too nice a guy, and you're too smart to do something like this.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'm not a nice guy? And he goes, you're too smart to do something like this. So Kenny got the nice guy, and I was just too smart to do it.
Well,
I think I'm a nice guy.
By the way, you can look at that as both a compliment and insult for both of you.
Yes, you're right. You are right. Let's go back to the calls. Let's go to Andrew and Charlotte. Andrew.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, except I'm pretty mad here. I think Brian Cashman probably should have lost his job like 8 years ago with Jacoby Ellsbury. Obviously, I'm not calling for him to get fired because it's April, and I know it's early, and the Yankees are one game out. So I'm not overreacting here because I'm looking at this based off the past how many seasons, right? This team won't back off the fact that they need to build it off the three true outcomes. And when home runs are neutralized, which happens in cold weather, and it happens against good pitching staffs like every single postseason, now the team can't manufacture a run because they only walk and then they strike out, leaving runners on base. And that's how the team is built. So they live and die by the analytics, and they love it, and it gets them to the playoffs. And the dirty little secret with the Yankees is with this front office, that's enough for them. It's nice to win. They make money if they won the World Series, but the long-term business approach is stay relevant because a decade where we get to the playoffs every year must be better for their bottom line than winning one or two rings and getting some weak seasons. Because you see the Red Sox tear their team apart and actually win championships and tear it apart and win it. There's a method to do it, but you can't quantify a winning championship mentality in numbers. So the numbers department's always going to miss it out. So as long as
Andrew, are you from New York, or you've always been from Charlotte?
I'm from a town called Milford, Pennsylvania.
Okay. So you're familiar. What the Red Sox have done. Now, you can't knock them for doing it. They've won 4 championships in however many years, but they've had a couple of last-place finishes. How do you think the Yankee fan base would handle last place finish from this team. They don't handle being eliminated in the wild card well. How do you think a last place finish 3 times in 6 years?
They're not doing anything, Michael, to do anything. Their idea is they're so gung-ho that any team that wins in the October, it's just random. You just got to get there, and it's random. And I get it. You can look at the team that wins the most games in baseball is least likely of all the major sports to actually win their championship. So I get it. But the 90s team, I mean, who on the 90s team was the Joey Gallo of the 90s, right? This guy was handed a 3-peat, and everyone, I think too many people forget to think this guy has not, he's built one winner in over 20 years, and he has one of the most hallowed jobs in sports.
Yeah,
and
but
he just has carte blanche control.
He does. You're eliminating one thing, though. So you say he's handed the 3-peat, right? He made big moves in those. You can't deny he made big moves in those deals. He got Scott Brosius. That was his trade. He got David Justice. That was his trade. I mean, he made a lot of moves on that team.
All right.
So you can't just say, he was handed the core 4 or core 5, and that's a nice way to start. But he was also part of that front office that did that.
But I do think we have to kind of reevaluate this whole New York won't tolerate a rebuild.
I don't think they will. I don't think Yankee fans will. You take the phone calls with me, Don. How would they react if they finished last?
No, but, right. But the point is that they haven't had to blow it up. But sometimes you just can't react to what the fans are going to. They're going to kill you anyway for not winning the championship.
But you'd rather them break it down to finish last to hopefully win a championship, or then make the playoffs every year and not win a championship.
But don't make it seem like, well, you can't do what the Red Sox did. I mean, I think you could if you're honest with your fan base. Like we saw the Rangers do it with the letter, right? They were honest with their fan base and said, listen, we're going to go and rebuild. And it didn't really affect the attendance, and the fans understood. Now, eventually, you're going to lose patience for sure, and now it's paying dividends, and the fans stuck with it because they were being told. When you're told, oh, we're going to win, and you don't win, the fans get ticked off. And I think the Yankees have to try to approach it a little differently than the arrogance of we're in it for championships, not a championship kind of mentality. They did break it down in a way in 2016.
Right, and they never fell out of it.
And they never fell out of it. That's why Brian Cashman deserves a lot of credit for that. But to the caller's point, yes, Brian Cashman contributed to those 3 championships in 4 years. But he's also won 1 championship in the last 20. So you can legitimately ask the question, why? Is it because it is just a crapshoot in the postseason and they've come up unlucky in 19 of the 20 attempts? Or is the plan fundamentally wrong?
Well, you can't say the plan's fundamentally wrong because the Tampa Bay Rays, it's the same plan. They strike out and they hit home runs. The same thing with the Dodgers. So the plan's not fundamentally wrong. You might be getting the wrong players for the plan. Because I think the thing that hurts them
too. And then the other thing too, and we can tease this for the next segment because I'm sure we're going to dive back into the Nets. When are people going to realize that the playoffs are different than the regular season? And I just can't buy into the whole idea of, well, the postseason is a crapshoot. The reason it's a crapshoot is you build your team for the 162. But then don't make the necessary adjustments once you get to the playoffs because the playoffs are a completely different animal than the regular season. And what works in the regular season doesn't always work in the second season.
No, that's true. And I think you have to have more contact in your lineup because sometimes big pitching does shut down power. And then you've got to create runs. And there's a lot of strikeouts in that order. And they really added 220 of them in Gallo. We'll come back. Nets with a big loss yesterday. Can they come back? Is their coach in danger? Talk about all of it. Alan Hahn will join us as well. It's Kayla Greco Rosenberg and you on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Make every moment more.
Don't just watch all the NBA playoff action. Be a part of it with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel makes it easy to bet on every matchup, every prop, even every shot. And you'll get your winnings as soon as the buzzer sounds. Make every playoff moment more with FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. Download FanDuel today.
The leap of faith. Some hesitate, but not you. You don't ask what if. You embrace what's next with open arms. You don't question your decision. You double down. Because you know the thrill is worth it. Introducing the 2022 Telluride Nightfall Edition.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. But we didn't stop with shirts. We also created so much more, from polos to sweaters to pants. We even have a line just for her. So everyone can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Try the original Untucked shirt and more today. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store.
Ready for a triple play?
Starting this April, stream a triple premiere on the Yes app.
Watch 3 new shows
On 3 straight days.
Now we're cooking.
Each week, we're dropping fresh episodes of our unique new lifestyle shows.
So fresh, so good.
Tuesdays.
Get style with off-field fashion.
And see the top FIT designers outfit some of the biggest names in the game.
Wow, everything that you've come out in has been stunning.
Wednesdays.
Get over the hump with Welllife NYC.
And go on a wellness journey to discover ways for living your healthiest life.
Ready to go.
Yeah, there we go.
And Thursdays.
Get fed with Home Plate New York.
And take a culinary crawl with local celebrities to celebrate diverse city cuisines.
Because you're that way.
It's like kind of the coolest thing ever for me.
Stream 3 big premieres on 3 straight days.
It's fashion,
fitness,
and food.
Streaming now, exclusively on the Yes app.
Here's to the heroes, our teachers, nurses, firefighters, and volunteers. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And now, your local Hyundai dealer wants to thank them with a brand new 2022 Hyundai Tucson. And the hero in your life could win it. Visit HyundaiSaluteToHeroesNY.com to enter them and tell us why they deserve special recognition. Because heroes make everyone's journey better.
Always moving forward. Movado SE.
And New York City wins the first MLS Cup on their first try. Up the chest and what a goal. Titus Magno makes it with the head. That's what we do, baby.
It's one thing to build a truck, it's another to build a legacy. This is the Ford F-150 truck, the only one with an available Pro Power onboard generator, the one with an available work surface in the front and in the back, and the only one that's part of F-Series, the best-selling pickups for 45 years straight and counting. Custom build your new Ford F-150 and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View more offers at buyfordnow.com.
Defend your family's health and remove the risk. Go to fda.gov/health playbook.
I felt the connection with Brooklyn before I ever stepped foot in the Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, that changed the entire culture of the franchise.
It's unbelievable, and I can listen to these stories all day. I'm telling you, the fascination is real. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, what a day, what a day.
Don't do that to me as I'm about to swallow my coffee. Wow. That was almost a spit take.
If you watched the Nets last night, that was a spit take. They're up by 17 in the second quarter, and they let it get away. Second half was completely different. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they were the gang that couldn't shoot straight. They were terrible. And these were players that are two of the greatest players in the history of the league. Although for some reason Kyrie didn't make the top 75 when it was voted on, maybe because he's missed a lot of time, but he's a great, great player. And the Celtics have found a way to neutralize Durant in games 1 and 2. And after Kyrie embarrassed them, but they still won in game 1, it was a completely different player in game 2. They were awful. The two of them were awful. And it just stands out more because of how great they are. Every time Kevin Durant is on the court, he's getting beaten up. And I'm not saying in a way that they should be calling fouls. He's getting banged around. When he crosses the court, he's running without the ball. Gets hit at least 3 times. TNT had a great sequence yesterday showing how hard he gets hit every single time he's on the court. And then when he has the ball, they throw 2-3 guys at him. And Peter, you saw it last night. He was handling the ball like Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Too many turnovers. He can't turn the ball over that much.
Yep. I got to tell you, Michael, I really don't like get any pleasure out of beating up on coaches, but I mean, it's only 2 games in, and this whole thing could turn around, and all of a sudden Steve Nash looks like a genius. But if you were to say right at this second, Michael, you would say that maybe the most standout thing in this series, beyond the play, because the superstars have all been up and down. When you really look at, Tatum, KD, and Kyrie, even if you want to include Jaylen Brown, those guys have all been whatever. They kind of have nullified each other. But Steve Nash getting out-coached big time by Ime Udoka right now. That's really what's happening, is there are schemes and a style of play that is working wonders for the Celtics and really allowed you to feel like they were in the game last night. I'll tell you honestly, as a Celtics fan, I never was really worried. Even when they were down big, I wasn't really worried.
Now, Greeny, hosts the NBA pre- and halftime and post-game show for ESPN and ABC. He talked about Nash and what a big deal Nash is.
I don't believe the Nets are being coached. I don't understand what's going on out there, and maybe that's their own choosing. KD and Kyrie made it pretty clear they didn't want to be coached, and they're not being coached because I don't see a single adjustment. I don't see a single play being run. I don't see them doing any of the things that were working early in that game as soon as Boston made an adjustment on the defensive end. I don't see them finding ways to get guys cutting to the basket and throwing up lobs when they get the doubles that come every now and again. I don't see any opportunities for Patty Mills and Seth Curry and all these guys, Dragic, all these guys who can shoot threes to spread the floor. They are playing right into the Celtics' hands. They have to this point done nothing that I can identify to adjust to what is being done. So if this is a chess match, and thus far, again, all the Celtics have really done, as dramatic as it has been, is hold serve. As the Nets go home, Steve Nash, it's your move.
Now, if the Nets won that game last night, we were talking about what a great game Seth Curry had. Big shots. And Brown had a great game, too, after a lousy game by opening his mouth in game 1. But, he was up. He scored the first 9 points of the game. Now, let's hear from Nash. So, Nash was asked, what did they do to stop KD?
Well, I think they're being physical, grabbing him, holding him, all that stuff that you come to expect. He's been uncomfortable. He hasn't looked like he's been able to quite get his rhythm. But, there's other areas of the game that we got to improve at. We made some big strides in the first half, played a lot better, and now we have to sustain it for 2 halves.
And he was also asked why Kyrie play so poor.
We just didn't have a great shooting half, second half. I wouldn't want to single out Kyrie here. I think it's, he had 39 last time out. You're not going to have 39 every night. And get back to Brooklyn, take a look at the tape, try to help these guys, try to help them improve and give them new ways to attack and come out with some juice on Saturday.
Now, I think, obviously, they'll have the crowd on their side. The crowd was not that loud with Kyrie as they were in game 1, and they were told constantly on the board and all the message boards at TD Garden, anybody who's abusive to the players, they will be thrown out and their season tickets will be revoked. So I'm sure that had an effect as well. I mean, they booed when he had the ball, but he didn't seem like he was as sharp as he was in game 1. And, Durant, what's it explain about Durant? The thing that impressed me the most, and Peter, you watch them more than I do, but the Celtics defense was suffocating, especially on those 2 guys. Now, maybe that's why Curry had such a good game, because they let him, we're not letting Durant and Kyrie beat us. And if you guys can hit shots, well, hit them. And they did. But Durant and Kyrie have to score. And they were swarming all over KD. They would never let him get an open look. So I give them credit, too. I'm not just going to say that KD had a bad game. The defense made him have a bad game.
Yeah, that's the thing. You really can't even for a second act as if it was just a struggle. It was unusual. I don't recall the last time I saw stars shut down in that way. Michael, it looked like any time in the second half Kyrie and KD were shooting the ball, they couldn't get a clean shot. But someone's hands on the ball, someone's swiping at them as they try to get into the paint. Everything was difficult, and it was. I mean, listen, I could sit here and sing the praises of Marcus Smart all day. You listen. I know when I named that song after him, a lot of people ask me why I like him, and Andrew told me that like he's such an annoying guy to play against. When his Sixers are playing the Celtics. But God, guys, isn't Marcus Smart the kind of player everyone wants on their team?
You want him on your team. You hate him if he's not on you. If he's against you.
Yeah, he never stops.
Right.
He's really annoying.
He's relentless.
He's annoyingly relentless. It never ends. And
then when he hit that shot at the end, Peter, when the Nets trying to make the left-handed shot.
Yep.
He scores some big buckets too.
Yeah, no, he can score too. Marcus can shoot it. He does a lot well, man.
But the coaching's the issue here, and Steve and Greeny said it right. There's no plays. He's a cheerleader, and he's letting the players do what they want, and I guess that's by design. But when do you ever win a championship with a neophyte as a head coach? Now you could say, well, Don, what about Spoelstra in Miami? Do you know how long he was an assistant before he finally got the head coaching job? Or Tyronn Lue in Cleveland? He had been an assistant and an associate coach in Boston and in Cleveland before he got the head coaching job. Now, granted, those were probably guys that let the superstars be the superstars. But you got to have some background. And Nash had zero experience, none, taking that job last year. Zero. Now, he was a great player, a Hall of Fame player, but he didn't pay his dues as an assistant, bouncing around from team to team or going down to the G League and coaching or anything. And so how do I know that he's going to be able to make the necessary adjustments? And you can't afford to get out-coached in the postseason. Who else has been able to do it? Tell me. Just walk right off the playing field and just jump in and help a team win a championship. Maybe he will eventually become a great coach. Spoelstra's obviously turned out to be one of the best coaches there is. So with time, I'm sure Nash can become a great coach. But can you expect somebody in just his second year to be able to go out there and win playoff games and set plays and not allow his team to be outcoached?
Well, and also, why is he the coach? What expectation did they have? Did they really think he was going to be an in-game strategist? Like that's truly what his coaching was? Or was it you're going to be liked by the star players we have? And, guys.
I just don't think those guys want to be coached.
I was going to say, KD and Kyrie don't want Tibbs.
No, they would rebel against Tibbs. They didn't want Atkinson. Atkinson is Tibbs light.
Exactly.
All right. Then go out and get an experienced coach with the understanding, you know what, leave me alone. Let me do what I do. But the other players need to be coached. You just need to have some sort of a plan. It can't just be about those two guys freelancing their way through games. There's other players. There's other moments. You got to score points and defend when they're not on the floor. You got to try to win games when those guys aren't doing well. You got KD had finished with a bunch of points. He was not shooting well. They got 10 points from Kyrie. So come up with something else. Figure something else out.
Yeah, you're right about that because, when do you call a timeout? Plays out of breaks and stuff like that. You're just not seeing that from the Nets. So leave those two guys alone.
Yeah.
And so do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, so go get Mark Jackson, and just the understanding is, listen, and I'm sure a guy like Mark Jackson or even a Van Gundy understands the modern game and realizes I'm going to let my best players kind of do what they want to do. But I'm also going to coach the rest of the team, and I'm also going to set plays and try to figure out a way out of this. And when things are when your way's not working, that I can develop some other way to find a way to win a game.
Now, these are numbers that will illuminate how bad it is for the Nets right now. So Durant had 27 points, but he's 18 for 20 from the line, 4 for 17 with 6 turnovers. Irving was 4 for 13, held to just 10 points. Now, in the 2 net losses, Durant is shooting just 31.7%, 13 for 41 overall. It's the first time in his career he has shot under 40% and committed at least 6 turnovers in consecutive games. Now, how about being down 2-0? Teams that go up 2-0 in a 7-game series, according to Brian Lewis of the New York Post, win 92.4% of the time. The record is 302 series wins to 25 losses. The Nets, in their career, they're winless 0-7 on the other end of that equation. Now, that doesn't really mean that much to me because that's a different net team than previous net teams that might have lost with Otis Birdsong or Bernard King or Mike Jaminski, but that's the number. But the overall number, 2-0, up in 7-game series, you win 92.4% of the time. So, in short, it doesn't look great for the Nets.
Now they are going home, but they're still going to have to figure out a way to win on the road if they're going to win this series.
And Michael's been saying it the whole time. And they got to get a good game from both Kyrie and KD.
And also, we're talking about getting out of the first round, but when you start thinking about this team winning a championship, now they're pretty much locked in, Peter, you would think, to probably going, unless they win the next 4 straight, having to win a Game 7 in Boston. So what does that do to them as far as now trying to make a run when, the Sixers are on the verge of winning in a sweep? So how much is that going to catch up with you? Because you think it's going to get any easier down the road?
Now, it's the first time in 55 games as teammates, regular and postseason, that both Kyrie and KD shot worse than 33%. Also, a Celtics stat. The Celtics are 40-1 all-time when holding a 2-0 series lead. Again, that doesn't really mean that much to me. John Havlicek's not walking through that door. Larry Bird's not. Bill Russell's not. So a lot of that was compiled during those years. But it does tell you how hard it is to come back from 2-0.
The number is, and it's so true. Nobody's ever come back from 3-0. You see those stats 2-0, which is surprising because I'm sure in the other sports, Michael, it's not 92.4% in baseball and hockey. No way. But basketball, it really holds true. How important home court is in the playoffs, and for a team to win back-to-back games tells you that maybe. Obviously, the stats show you that they're the superior team and they're going to win north of 90% of the time. So, yeah, history doesn't matter, but it just shows you how hard it is to spot a team, no matter where they are, 2 games, and expect to go out there. And now they got to turn around, Michael, after everything that's happened and win 4 of the next 5.
Let's go to Dominic in North Arlington. Dom.
How you doing, guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. First, I just want to say your show is awesome. I listen to you guys every day on my hour-and-a-half ride home.
Thank you, man. Thanks so much.
Good. Peter would appreciate this. I'm a huge Celtic fan my whole life. Watching them play these last 2 games, it's clearly easy to see that they're being outcoached. Multiple times in both games, when Durant hovers around the top of the key, they run a zone defense, and when he goes either way, somebody's there to pick him up. And you blame the coach. Move your offensive player on the other side of the court to give him a lane. And it constantly happens. The Nets will never beat this team doing what they're doing.
I think I would agree with you, Dominic. They've got to come. Now, he does have experienced coaches on the bench. So you would think that between last night and Saturday when they play Game 3, they have to come up with something. And they have to sit down with KD and Kyrie, too. What do we come up with? Let them be part of the plan. They're out there. What's going to work for you? Now, a lot of people are saying they should play Blake Griffin more. They haven't played Blake Griffin important minutes most of the year. Now you're going to throw him into Game 3? Now, I'm surprised they didn't play Aldridge that much.
Yeah, what's behind that?
I don't know. Let's go to Mac and Randolph. Mac.
Hey, guys. I just want to say I don't feel like Steve Nash should be blamed as much, just because when you were describing him as a cheerleader, that sounds exactly like what KD and Kyrie said in the beginning of the year they kind of wanted.
Yeah, you're right.
Everyone was jumping on LeBron for bringing Russ in. I feel like this is the same kind of situation, or blame the front office for allowing the players to make this decision,
You're absolutely 1,000% right. It's on them. So they got rid of a real good coach in Kenny Atkinson. I'm not turning Kenny Atkinson into Greg Popovich, but that guy turned this franchise around without stars.
Yeah, there was no reason for him to be fired as far as wins and losses were concerned.
No, they didn't want to be. They didn't want to be nudged. They didn't want a guy who was going to constantly coach them. They didn't want it, and they can say all they want, but they actually have said it. They slipped in public saying it. We're going to coach ourselves. That's from Kyrie. So that right away puts Nash behind the 8 ball. So we could blame him for not being a great coach, but blame the guys that forced the front office to do this, and blame the front office for giving in. So when you sell your soul to stars, those stars better be good. Those stars better come through in the clutch, because if they don't, then you've sold your soul for nothing.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, man, if you could ask them privately what Sean Marks thinks now, Is he glad this is the path that he did? Because essentially you said the talent is so good, we're going to push all our chips in and hope this thing works out. But as a result, you have so little you can do. They're now at the whim of those guys. And if they don't get a championship, then what was it all for?
I don't think, Peter, that you could have ever turned down the opportunity to get KD and Kyrie. But the James Harden deal will be the one that will always be highlighted. Did they really need to go for the third star? Because you look at what they gave. Forget about all the other pieces. You gave up Jarrett Allen. The one thing that they don't have on this team is rim protection, size in the middle. That guy was a homegrown star. You gave him up for James Harden. James Harden was awful. Wind his way out. You got Ben Simmons, who hasn't been on the court yet. There's talk that he might be there for Game 4. I don't know if he could play Game 4. Why not Game 3? But that's the one you're going to really have to question. There's no way any team would have turned down KD and Kyrie. But the James Harden thing, that was going the extra mile. Probably you didn't have to go.
But I mean, listen, I hate to be this guy, Michael, but you may remember, I said at the time I didn't quite understand why it was needed. You didn't have to be a rocket scientist to think they gave up a lot of pieces that are the kind of little pieces a championship team needs. And with two superstars and those pieces, Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, that team wouldn't have been enough to compete?
Well,
they'd be better than what they are now.
But because they probably didn't think they can count on Kyrie every night.
That's probably it, Don.
And they were right. For whatever reason, something was going to happen. We need to bring in somebody else here when Kyrie goes off and decides to do something politically, or who knew about with the vaccination and everything. Like there was obviously availability problems with Kyrie, and they wanted some insurance.
Now it's going to be interesting. They're almost locked into giving Kyrie whatever he wants when he opts out of his deal. But if they really think, wow, this turned into an unmitigated mess, do they stand up and cleanse themselves and go, you know what, Kyrie, we're good? Like, bring Don in and just say, we're good. And then would KD leave? I think he would. He'd say, I want out. That's why it's so difficult, because they're tied at the hip.
Well, they're tied at the hip for now. But
he has supported him through everything.
I know, but through everything, but a disastrous first-round exit. I mean, what if this team gets swept? I mean, there's going to be a lot of finger-pointing, and there's going to be a lot of, all right, who's responsible for this? What do we do? And you know, we've seen KD take more of a leadership role here, I think, over the last month or so, right, Peter? More so than we've ever probably seen him any other place. So I don't think everything's forever. Could there be a time where KD says, hey, I want to get a ring here? Are you helping me or hindering me here? We need a better coach. We need a little bit more stability. I don't know. Because they could just turn around, Michael, after this is over and say, hey, we lost the game by 7 points where Kyrie had 10 points and what, KD shot 25%. If we play better, we win the game going away. So maybe they won't be swayed. Hey, listen, it's still on us, and we won't play this poorly again.
Now let's talk to our guy. Knows more basketball than any of us, and that is Alan Hahn. You could hear him, Barton Hahn, from noon to 3 right before our show. So Alan will join us in just a moment right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show is brought to you in part by Burke Rehabilitation. Get back in action with Burke.
And it's Liberty Bell closest to the rail. Around the back turn. And here's the Hornet Cup. Maverick way up on the outside. And there we go. They come down to the line again. They're back in action. Jump over the goal.
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Nets down by 3. 3.2 on the clock. Simmons on a bounce. Carter is open. A 3 on the way. Got it! With .5 left. Harris, step back. Jumper. Yes, sir! Looking, finally gets it in for Bosch. Bosch turns.
Don't foul there.
3 is good. 5 seconds to play.
What a game.
Let's see what the Nets do. Parker, a 3. He nails it with 2.1 on the clock, and we are tied at 127 in overtime. Back and forth we go in a Canadian classic.
Look at Carter, he's open.
The lob and slam with 1.5. Simmons to Carter. Oh, what a game, and what a win for New Jersey.
Announcing a weight loss plan made specially for men.
When I got to the point where I had to hold my breath to tie my shoes and couldn't play with my daughter, I had to do something.
I'd start waking up in the morning and having pain because I had never had pain before. I've got to do something. I've got to lose weight.
Nutrisystem for Men is working for men just like you.
I'm not a diet guy because if it's hard, it's something that you're not going to stick to. Nutrisystem made it easy. They're like, okay, here's your breakfast, here's your lunch, here's your dinner.
Eat 6 times a day. Fully prepared meals and snacks you won't believe are part of the plan, delivered right to your door.
Nutrisystem has a variety of food, everything from pizza to pasta. They have desserts, they have ice cream.
And wait till you try new premium meals. 50% bigger with up to 30 grams of protein.
I have more energy, more confidence, and it's all thanks to Nutrisystem.
Act now and get a month of our new ProSync high-protein shakes free to control hunger for up to 3 hours. Call or go to NutrisystemForMen.com to get started. And get a free month of shakes that control hunger for up to 3 hours.
Now's the time to get a Ford built for you, by you. Pick your color, your wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want an F-150 with a 12-inch touchscreen, 400 horsepower and an Explorer, or a moonroof? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide. It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
Fantastic. The feeling that comes when you've paired the perfect treat with whatever you're streaming.
I choose your brother, Travis.
On time, lowest price, or we'll make it right. Are you kidding me? Grubhub.
Good morning.
More treatment.
We're going to try something different today.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Dogs bring out the good in us. Pedigree brings out the good in them.
For every sport, there's a business behind the sport.
The total of that plus operation was $100,000 a day.
Forbes Sports Money goes inside the numbers.
I took the deal in equity.
To explore the financial side of the game.
It's been very successful for us.
Forbes Sports Money. New episodes every month right here on Yes.
It's been 20 years since we first said yes.
It's a lot of tradition, a lot of history, and a lot of memories.
If you're a Yankee fan, now it's automatic. You know where to go.
That's one of the greatest games you will ever see. You can't write this stuff, but there it was, right there on Yes.
That was real, and that was spectacular. Welcome to Brooklyn.
This is Yankee Art.
They're telling stories that they never get a chance to tell publicly.
It's synonymous with greatness in television.
It's amazing the impact the Yes Network has had.
20 years later, we're still saying yes.
We all know a hero. It could be a teacher, a grandparent, a coach. And now Hyundai wants to thank them with a 2022 Hyundai Tucson. To nominate your hero, visit HyundaiSaluteToHeroesNY.com and tell us why they deserve special recognition, because heroes make everyone's journey better.
6 years, man. Can you believe it? 6 years today we lost him. And David Bowie was in 2016.
Wow, 6 years. That flew. Wow.
Well, now you brought everybody down. Let's bring everybody up now.
There you go.
By bringing in the great Alan Hahn. You can listen to Alan and Bart Scott on Bart and Hahn from noon to 3 every Monday through Friday right here on 98.7 ESPN. And we welcome him to the festivities. Hi, Alan.
Fellas, how we doing?
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Better than the Nets. You watch that game closely. What do you take out of it? I mean, what's the most disturbing thing?
Well, the most disturbing thing, obviously, is meltdowns in 2 straight games now. And games that you thought were winnable games, they very easily could be up 2-0 in this series. And that's the frustrating thing to watch. Just when you love basketball and you love great play and great players, it just feels like on the net side of things, you see just brain lock down the stretch on several decisions. And also with them offensive with just no creativity at all. They're leaving it all on the star players. Michael, I heard the early part of the show. I think you nailed it. It's exactly what we're seeing. This is what they wanted. They didn't want Kenny Atkinson. They didn't want a hard-nosed coach that was going to make them watch film and, put them through practice and set them up and have them do things that during the regular season that they'd be prepared for now that they're in the postseason. They didn't want that. So this is what you get. So I ask this question. Do you blame Steve Nash for being not prepared to coach, to call a timeout, to make decisions on his own, to make adjustments? Or do you blame Kyrie and KD because that's what they wanted?
No, I completely get that. He's got zero coaching experience going into last year. And I thought, we saw it before with LeBron, with Tyronn Lue, and we certainly saw it with Spoelstra. Those guys were assistants for a long time and then got the opportunity to be a head coach and won a championship. Why was it him? You could have brought an experienced guy in and told him, listen, just don't coach me. But you still got to coach everybody else. You still got to come up with plays. You still got to play defense in the fourth quarter, especially in the playoffs, Alan. So why was it Steve Nash as opposed to somebody with at least some experience?
Well, Kyrie kind of explained it when he talked about wanting someone at their level. I mean, he had a lot of passive-aggressive comments when Nash got the job about how Kenny Atkinson didn't play in the NBA and maybe wasn't at their level as a player who could understand them at that level. There's just something from those comments. But if we're gonna kill Jason Garrett for years in Dallas for being basically a cheerleader on the sideline, all he did was clap. A lot of fans get all over Aaron Boone for only saying positive things and never really ripping into players like sometimes that needs to happen. If you're going to criticize those guys, you got to criticize Steve Nash. And I'll say this part too. I do think, though, during the game, it's one thing. He's a 2-time MVP. He's been a guy who's been to Western Conference Finals. He's played in huge games. He understands how the league works. You're going to tell me that in your postgame, your comments are going to be basically just saying how we've got to be better because they're doing this to, their defense has been this and that. And they have more experience as a group, which I don't want to hear that excuse anymore. He keeps going back to that. Instead of flipping over the table, pounding the table and saying, my star can't be officiated like this. They're not letting him move out there. I mean, at least, if anything, take the fine, pay it, and know that you're sending a message for Game 3 when we go home. This can't keep going. He's got to be able to move on the perimeter. They're not letting him get to spots. They're getting away with too much physically against arguably the best player in the game. And I've never seen that before in NBA history. I can't believe this is happening. Like, do something along that lines that at least it sends a message for Game 3. And your players also know that you very much have their back. That's lacking too. That is also coaching.
That's such a good point.
That's something that Pat Riley and Phil Jackson did to a level of expertise that we can't even imagine.
Absolutely.
They worked the officials even when they weren't on the court. It was amazing, and they got results.
And I'll tell you what. And you know what, Michael? All of the criticism that Aaron Boone gets, he did have the savages in the box moment, which was an incredible moment for him to go. There are times you see him. He gets tossed. He goes out there and argues umpire. I mean, you got to do that as a coach. And Nash, instead, is just so passive, like in his postgame about, they're just a more experienced group. They've been together more than we have. Stop using that excuse, man. It's the playoffs, and you are expected to win because you have talent.
Well, I said the winner of Game 2 is going to win the series, so I think the Nets are done. Michael and Peter still think there's a shot. What do you say?
Well, I mean, I know it's not a must-win because it's not an elimination game, but it is a must-win. It's a must-win on so many levels, and I know that Ben Simmons isn't playing in that game, but I look at it as if I'm Ben Simmons, and Nash said it would be up to him, right? Then how is he not saying, I'm playing in this game?
Right, you could play Tuesday, you could play Saturday.
Half.
Right.
Oh, my God. Honestly, this is, I think, also a microcosm of what the Nets have become. They have become a franchise that, the Lakers, there's too many people in charge. With the Nets, I don't know who's in charge. No one makes a decision around here. And that's the problem. I would be looking at him if I was a teammate in that locker room, and I'm watching him warming up and all that stuff. And so it's Saturday night versus Monday night. And we're basically facing even if you win that game, it's still 1-2. Game 4 is even more of a must-win. Give me 10 minutes. Just show me I'm here. I'll give you a second quarter pocket where I can play a little bit, but I need to know that everybody's all hands on deck. And I don't want to hear, don't worry about it, when we're all whole again next year and there's nothing keeping Kyrie from playing, and now Simmons is healthy. Boy, that's the time we're going to go for it, because the odometer on Kevin Durant just keeps dialing up.
Yep.
Now, I'm curious, Alan, just because, how my mind works. So Kenny Atkinson better than I do. I like him a lot.
I know what you're going to ask.
Is he sitting there giggling to himself, rubbing his hands gleefully, seeing what's happening?
No, he's not. He's not built like that. Honestly, he's not built like that. They've got bigger fish to fry where he's coaching now, and I think for him, I don't see him as somebody that ever enjoys someone else's failure.
That's sad.
Honestly, I don't know him to be that way. You and I, though, I think you and I both would be that way. We'd both be fist pumping. Absolutely.
Yes, but I don't know why that would make somebody a bad guy if he was rooting against them.
Oh, I didn't say it makes him a bad guy. I just knowing him at the root. First of all, he's got now a chance to win a ring as an assistant coach with Golden State. I mean, the door is open for them, especially with Booker's injury. So knowing him and how he is a workaholic, he's way too focused on what they're doing to even pay attention to, his old team being down 0-2.
So, Alan, before we close with you, I want to, bring some sunlight into something to maybe deodorize it. But you said that Don was a bad teammate because he didn't support me yesterday. And Don really, he just ripped you. So now I'm going to give you a return to serve. Why did you think Don was a bad teammate? And were you surprised at the vitriol that he had going back at you?
What I'm surprised at is you shared a private conversation publicly, Michael. I'm actually taking it back.
You don't even know you're dealing with.
Well, wait. Let's really lift the curtain. You said he's a bad teammate, and then I said, can I say that on the air? Nothing for 2 hours. So I just said it. I figured that was okay.
Kids, hockey practice, a lot going on in his life.
Like, true story, because you guys know I consume the show in large amounts, especially in my long commute home during traffic. I got a phone call right after that moment where and Don, I love you. I did feel like that caller was a nozzle, Peter, if I may use your word.
Please, go ahead.
And you had an opportunity to stick up for your teammate, and instead you almost seemed to, kind of leave it out there. Like, it's all right. And I felt, in that moment, attacked myself, being a friend of all of you.
Well, this
and
was
I let Michael know that. I was going to then text you, but then a phone call came in that I had to be on, and that was it. And the moment was lost.
I pride myself in being a great teammate. Not a good teammate, a great teammate.
Wow. Not good,
but,
great.
However, being a good teammate and great teammate means sometimes you put the show above feelings. And I supported Jonathan because I thought Michael was a lot off base, taking the Cole criticism so personally. I was saving Michael and the show.
I think Alan brought up some salient points. He was with the Yankees. He was with the Yankees.
He's not offending you.
I mean.
But you know what, though? It is true, though, when you do get those people that think they got you on something, and then you just ask them to just make a simple, well, wait. And then he says, Was he on the team? Well, what the hell are you calling me for then? Was he on the team? You know, now your credibility is shot. So that where I really thought you'd go, Don. But now I've got to get Anthony. Please send me the clip now of Don ripping me because I now need to hear this. I didn't know that happened.
It's unfortunate.
And
Destroyed
this might
you,
have
Alan.
to be discussed.
No,
This might
I'll
have
repeat
be
it to your
discussed
face.
tomorrow
I
on
said,
Bart
screw you.
Oh,
He
is
said
what I
screw
said.
you. Yeah, he said screw you.
But I also said that you're an exceptional talent and should know better. That's good radio.
You see how he cleaned that up?
Those are both false.
I ain't clean it up. Repeat it. I got to listen. After screw you, Peter. How do you clean it?
You can't. The mess is there. Sorry doesn't fix the lamp. The milk is out of the lamp.
Out of the udder. So don't mess up.
I think you know.
No, I like that one better. That's way better. The milk is out of the lamp.
It was intentional, but it's
Listen,
okay.
if the milk's out of the lamp, really, who's apologizing?
Wow.
I don't know. Say what you want about me. I'm the biggest fan of this show, so I'll continue to listen despite Don hating me at this point. All I know is that I do need your support, though, for Bart and I in this 2-on-2, and you guys should know it's not me guarding Jay Will now. I'm taller than Key. I have to guard Key. It's Bart, who is a defensive stalwart, my Pro Bowler, who will be guarding. And remember, he's from Detroit. He's from those Pistons days. He's guarding Jay Will. And I'm just throwing it out there. There may or may not be some Jay Will rules being applied.
What do you mean?
When it comes to our defense?
He's going to try to punish Jay.
Yeah, I was going to say, what NBA era are we playing in with this?
We're Oakley.
Well, again, if it's 2-on-2, just understand it's not like you can foul out. Think about that for a minute.
So he could commit assault, is what you're saying, Alan.
He could, yes. And I think we've seen Bart do that. Just check the YouTube of Bart sacking Ben Roethlisberger, and maybe that's something that Jay Will should be aware of.
Sure. That was a long time ago.
Wow.
Can't Wait was a long time ago.
Just
ask Jet fans.
He's not even a good teammate for the whole station. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. I can't even get a little bit of support, Don.
No, but I'm supporting the two other guys on the station. Right?
Yeah, but one of them you don't even like, Don.
Who?
I'm going to tell you, there's one I have no use for. Try to guess which one. But I'm not going to give you the answer, and it's not Alan. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
But one of the other three I have no use for.
Well, I'll narrow it down for the people.
No, good. You think you know, but you don't.
Oh, I know who it is. I know everybody that you hate, including myself.
No, there's a difference between hate and have no use for. I don't hate anybody.
Okay, Gandhi.
Alan, last question for you. Have you ever considered throwing a water bottle at Mike Tyson on an airplane?
Yeah, I don't think that's a good career move for anyone.
No.
But it certainly has turned into a really good. Now, the funny thing is Saturday I'll be on a JetBlue flight, so I'm wondering if this just becomes a thing now. This is what we do.
They just toss bottles.
So
yeah,
now,
nice.
If someone throws a bottle at me, Peter, I mean, am I okay then to go, a quick two-piece on them?
Yeah.
Like, is that considered etiquette now on a plane?
That's a great question.
Well, we're now in a world where it's okay to flip people off. Tim Anderson did it the other day in Cleveland, and Mike Tyson. Yeah, if you could throw bottles, I guess you could throw fists.
It's assault, isn't it?
That's assault, brother.
Both boys, it's assault. Yours is
We asked
self-defense.
the question. I need all three of you to answer a question for me. We asked the question. Now, Jimmy Butler went for 45 points the other night and said afterwards that he was playing spades and listening to music. And someone asked him, what were you listening to? You're so fired up. He said, Backstreet Boys. Now, you think he's making that up, but he's not. In fact, if you see his Heineken commercials, he's singing Hall & Oates and Hootie and the Blowfish. So he likes a different kind of music. So we asked everybody, is there like an embarrassing song that if you heard alone in the car, you sing at the top of your lungs, but if somebody else was around, you would never even admit to know the song?
Of course.
So we were all doing it on the show. We got a ton of calls on it. So could each of you maybe provide that for me? Because I would love to hear it.
Well, you have to listen. 'Cause it sounds like a great tease.
Yeah, it's a great tease. We'll come back and do it. But I already gave you my answer, so we'll hear from Don and Peter. I texted I Think I Love You by the Partridge Family. And I would proudly sing that in a karaoke bar.
I was going to say, you proudly talk about it all the time.
Love that song. I could sing a little right now, but we're right up against it.
These are three people that are not easily embarrassed, Alan.
Alan, God bless you.
I love you.
All the best, guys.
Goodbye.
Love you too, Don.
We have a little bit of a giveaway when we come back, so stay tuned for that. And then we have ENN, Kayla, Greco, Rosenberg, and you, Han, too, right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide. It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
A Ford built for you, by you. Get yours. Built from the ground up with your choice of colors, wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want a head-up display and Escape, 7 GOAT modes in Bronco Sport, or a Ranger with best-in-class gas torque? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
See, son, with a little elbow grease, you can do just about anything.
Thanks, Dad.
That's right, Robert. And it's never too early to learn you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
That's right, Jamie. But it's not just about savings. It's about the friends we make along the way.
You said it, Flo. And don't forget to floss before you brush. Your gums will thank you.
That's right, Dr. Gary.
Jamie?
Sorry, I had another thought, so I got back in line.
What was it?
I can't remember.
Sunday, NYCFC is taking the city by storm.
What a goal! That is just sensational!
As the captain, Sean Johnson, is ready to shut down Toronto FC and lead the boys in blue to victory.
Saved by Sean Johnson.
Coverage starts Sunday at 5 on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
It's hard to think of that day. We didn't know this would be coming. Good job. We're dealing with a mass in the brain. You hear about it, stories of other people, but you don't think it's going to happen to you. Why? What happened? What could we have done? You don't know how to prepare for a 3-year-old for brain surgery. St. Jude has given us anything you need. You have no worries for food, transportation, treatment. Everything's taken care of. You feel very taken care of, and you feel like they actually care about your son. This is all made possible by people giving out, out of their kindness of their heart. I see my son's future when I look at him. I hope Abraham can grow up and just be happy. He'll just have a happy life.
Always moving forward. Movado SE. Take the stage at HardRockCasino.com. Feel the thrill in front of hundreds of slot games. It's time for your biggest hits. Watch as everything lines up for you. And experience the legendary treatment at our live dealer tables. Join now, get 50 free spins, and take up to $1,000 welcome bonus. Download the Hard Rock Casino app today.
Every drive is a joyride. The thrilling Audi sedan family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
These Yankee highlights are brought to you by Montefiore, state-of-the-art healthcare in New York City, Westchester, and the Hudson Valley.
This morning I woke up with this feeling I didn't know how to deal with, and so I just decided to myself I'd hide it to myself and never talk about it, and did not go and shout it till you walked into the room. All right, what's your embarrassing song, Peter?
Mine's really bad. Let me just set the tone by saying I deplore who this person has become. I think he's become a terrible guy. It bothers me on so many levels. And this, on top of that, Don, this song has two just over-the-top rip-off samples. So in every way, it's guilt. But I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy it.
Wow.
That's mighty big of you, brother.
I like this song, too.
Of course you do.
Back tomorrow, home Alabama, all come along.
I don't know what word you just said.
Hummer.
All
hummer along.
Yeah.
All right, what's yours, Don?
There's so many, and I'm not embarrassed of any of it because, I'm not a person that's easily embarrassed. But this is the one that came to my head when I was asked.
Wow.
Little Juice Newton. Local Jersey girl.
Look at you.
Just call me Angel. And you know what? I didn't think about that song forever, right? Until I saw A Promising Young Woman. And then I downloaded it and I started listening to it like ad nauseum. Because that's the end. That's the music. That's the song at the end of the movie. We won't say how it ends. But we both enjoyed that movie.
Great movie. People should watch it. Luka Doncic is out for Game 3 against Utah tonight. So Brunson had that big game, even the series of 1-1, so it gives him a little more time to play with this. But calf injury for an NBA player, for anybody, it's just so tough to come back for. It's so much longer than you think it is. And even if he comes back in the fourth game, he'll hurt it again. I've just never seen it end well.
It also seems to be the precursor to a possible Achilles, right?
Not necessarily.
Well,
I know what you're thinking about Durant. Yeah, but I've seen baseball players get it, and you just can't come back because every time you kind of pivot and you explode, it puts all the pressure on the calf. It just doesn't get better right away. You have to shut it down for a long, long time. Hey, MLB The Show 22 is out now and ready to play on PlayStation, Xbox, and for the very first time, Nintendo Switch. Create your dream team in Diamond Dynasty. Play with your favorite legends, flashbacks, and current players all on the same team. Plus, a new commentary team as John Boog Shambi and Chris Singleton join as the new voices of MLB The Show. Get it now for PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo consoles at theshow.com. Rated E for everyone. To win your copy on PlayStation 4, be caller 1 right now at 1-888-987-ESPN.
My only Cub viewing has been during the show, so I've been able to hear Boog during these Cub games. So I'm sure he's doing great.
You know what? Just come to my house any day, Don. His voice is reverberating throughout the place. Charlie plays that game constantly, and I texted him last night. I said, "You sicken me." He said, "You love it." I said, "No, I don't love it. It's sickening to hear your voice constantly."
I like that their names are included. Like with all due respect, we talk about it not mattering that you're going to get Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. You think a kid who's playing video games to go, did they say John Shambi?
Bye. You sicken me.
Come on.
You know if you're on the fence about buying it.
I mean, I love Shambi, so for me, okay.
You know what they do though? It's kind of cool. So if one of your teams is the Yankees, so they have a little box in the corner, and Boog is the one calling the play-by-play, but if it's a home run, they'll go either "it is high, it is far, it is gone," just in the words, or "there it goes, see ya." So Charlie was all excited the first time he saw that. So that was kind of neat.
Now they cleaned it. I haven't played a sports video game in a long time, but I know Jim Houston did the NHL one, and just it sounded weird. Like I remember with the Devils, there was Christophe Oliva. So every time Oliva touched the puck, Oliva, it was always the same. Oliva. Like, did they clean it up a little bit? Like, it really sounds like they're doing the game, or does it sound kind of mechanical?
It sounds really great, and it looks great. The visuals are unbelievable. Don just does virtual reality now for porn. That's his game shows that he
was doing porn
with Oculus.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
It's a virtual. It's made by Facebook.
Sex.
You don't really know what that is?
No, I didn't. I've never heard the word.
You've never heard the word Oculus?
No.
What about
first time today? Does that make me a bad guy?
Well, you've heard of the
I've heard of Meta.
You've never heard of the Oculus thing, though, the actual system?
No.
Wow.
Should I?
It's pretty mage.
It is. I mean, the kids have used it, and I put it on, and it's the next way you're going to be watching sporting events. You'll buy tickets to an event.
That. Okay.
Yeah, it's virtual reality. It's called Oculus, and you sit there, and you could be at Madison Square Garden for a Knick Celtic game, and you're looking around, and you're like right in the middle of play. It's just
and they have this for
extraordinary.
porn?
That's what I've heard.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Let me tell you something, Don. I've used one of these things before for I watched concert footage on one. I played a very basic video game with it. If you were to experiment with pornography,
right,
I think the result would be you never leave your house again. I think
this is another
that's how it
example.
goes.
This is another example where Demolition Man was a movie that really glimpsed the future better than any movie in the history of the
Oh,
media.
absolutely. I mean, it's going to be that you'll never, ever, ever have to leave your home again. You can experience any form of entertainment on that virtual reality.
I got to get with the times, man. I'm playing Vice City on my computer on an app.
What's wrong with you?
And then I was 25% done, and it got erased. I was disgusted with myself.
Meanwhile, you could be having full-blown virtual orgies in your house.
Well, I'm not. I don't think I'd partake.
Okay.
Okay, I'll play along.
What? What do you mean you play along?
Like the kids are in school and Nancy's out somewhere, you wouldn't do that. Come on, answer me.
No.
You're a liar, and you're not even a gentleman about it.
I like my porn old school.
You mean like finding it under your uncle's bed?
Wow. How's ENN coming on?
Oh, it's a great. Come on.
Really?
We got a lot.
That good?
We got to break down.
You know, it is a rite of passage as a kid when you stumble upon what we consider the
stash.
Oh, that's what they call it now, stumble? Yay! Anyway, ENN coming up in just a moment, right here on Yes at 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show is brought to you in part by Audi. Experience a fully electric Audi vehicle at your local Tri-State Audi dealer today.
And it's Liberty Bell closest to the rail. Around the back turn. And here's a horse that comes. That race way up on the outside. And there we go down the track. They come down the line again. They're neck and neck. To put the goal. He's the rider.
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide. It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
It's one thing to build a truck, it's another to build a legacy. This is the Ford F-150 truck, the only one with an available Pro Power onboard generator, the one with an available work surface in the front and in the back, and the only one that's part of F-Series, the best-selling pickups for 45 years straight and counting. Custom build your new Ford F-150 and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View more offers at buyfordnow.com.
Saturday, nasty Nestor Cortez takes the mound, seeking a repeat performance.
12 strikeouts for Cortez.
As the Bombers look to provide aerial support against Cleveland.
That one is crushed.
And this was a no-doubter.
Yankees versus Guardians. Coverage starts Saturday at noon on Yes and streaming on the Yes app.
Ready for a triple play?
Starting this April, stream a triple premiere on the Yes app.
Watch 3 new shows
On 3 straight days.
Now we're cooking. Each week, we're dropping fresh episodes of our unique new lifestyle shows.
So fresh, so good.
Tuesdays.
Get style with off-field fashion.
And see the top FIT designers outfit some of the biggest names in the game.
Wow, everything that you've come out in has been stunning.
Wednesdays.
Get over the hump with Welllife NYC.
And go on a wellness journey to discover ways for living your healthiest life.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, there we go.
And Thursdays.
Get fed with Home Plate New York.
And take a culinary crawl with local celebrities to celebrate diverse city cuisines.
It's just that way. It's like kind of the coolest thing ever for me.
Stream 3 big premieres on 3 straight days.
It's fashion,
Fitness.
And food.
Streaming now, exclusively on the Yes app.
Volkswagen has an SUV that's the perfect match for your lifestyle. Whether it's head-turning style, room for your entire family, a turbocharged joyride, or an all-electric experience. With our SUV lineup, any choice is a smart choice. More vehicles are arriving all the time. Visit your Tri-State Volkswagen dealer today to learn more about our vehicle lineup.
Don't just watch all the NBA playoff action. Be a part of it with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel makes it easy to bet on every matchup, every prop, even every shot. And you'll get your winnings as soon as the buzzer sounds. Make every playoff moment more with FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. Download FanDuel today.
The leap of faith. Some hesitate, but not you. You don't ask what if. You embrace what's next with open arms. You don't question your decision. You double down. Because you know the thrill is worth it. Introducing the 2022 Telluride Nightfall Edition.
The stars are out tonight. This is so much fun to watch. My, oh my. There it goes. See ya. Razzle dazzle. Oh, next level. Oh, shut it down. Come on. And it is one champions are made of. We don't touch the sky. Baseball is back. It should be fun.
Hey everyone. Welcome to ENN.
On Tiwi.
And on Rayro.
Rayro.
ENN tonight's brought to you by Sloman's and Casa Noble. I'd like to start off tonight, if I can, by saying good evening to Michael.
Hello, Michael. How are you? Is
Good.
this Michael? Michael, can you hear me? Michael, listen. Right off the bat, Mike.
Bye. You sicken me.
I told you, Don. It's fantastic. I knew. I knew it.
Slight overreaction, but
we had a couple
I
other.
think I'm cool.
We had a couple other good callers today. Anthony, let's play some of the other ones.
Jeez, Lou.
Well, who's Jeez Lou?
Moises Alou's nephew.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Okay.
And what did the other callers say?
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, terrible. Holy crap.
Yeah, Tyronn Lue's brother is Giza.
Giza Lou. All right, let's start off by saying good evening to Michael.
Home Alabama, oh, come along.
Yeah, come along.
And good evening to Don.
When the honey's gone, you make it into a bong.
Okay. And lastly, good evening to myself. The milk is out of the lamp.
That's great. I like what you did there.
Thank you. You
And Michael corrected you.
Yeah, he didn't.
No, I knew what he was doing, and I thought correcting it would be funny. I knew what you were doing.
Just being sure.
Wow. Is it my first day on radio or what?
They don't give these jobs to chimps.
Sometimes they do.
Guys.
And sometimes it works.
That is a fantastic point you just made. Guys, where do we start? There's so much to say. So much to do. Do you want to start Yankees? Do you want to start wacky news? Where do you want to go? It's like Mad Libs, Don. What's your preference?
I like wacky.
Well, listen, we haven't spent much time on it today, but it's clearly was one of the big news stories of the day, and that is the former youngest undisputed heavyweight champion in history, Iron Mike Tyson, was flying from, I believe, Los Angeles to San Francisco, or maybe San Francisco back to Los Angeles. And on a flight, there's video of Tyson unloading a flurry of punches to the face of another person on the plane.
He's a very scared man.
Tyson's rep is saying that the man was antagonizing Tyson. He was aggressive, continued to harass Tyson, and even threw a water bottle at him before Mike threw punches. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the video. Have you guys seen the video of the guy sort of like mocking Tyson behind him?
Yes.
And then, did you notice there's even like guys, I want to get high on the stuff he was on. Because after Mike Tyson beat him up and his head was like, somewhat cut up, he was still laughing and talking trash. Did you see?
I did. Colin Jost of SNL has a book called A Very Punchable Face. That guy had a very punchable face. He was such a punk.
Thank you for being such a gentleman.
Such a punk. I give Mike Tyson credit for not just destroying him, killing him.
Yeah, it's a skill to let up like that because clearly he's angered, but he knows what he can do.
The guy was, I hate to say it, he was asking for it. I don't condone violence, but there's nothing else that Tyson could do other than to just slap him silly.
This guy must have been drunk on a
How drunk can you be from L.A. to San Francisco?
Maybe it was cross country because you're right because it looks like they're in the JetBlue Mint. So maybe it was cross country. I just get frustrated that people who are such losers are able to afford JetBlue Mint every time. Some of those fares are absolutely unbelievable, Don. I don't know how he does it.
No, just because you're rich doesn't mean you can't be a nozzle.
No. But I'm just saying it's so annoying when you get I assume most of them are. That to get confirmation in a situation like this, I just am trying to understand. You're right, because when you look at the way Mike threw the punches, while it is clearly aggressive, you can see that they're kind of almost like rabbit punches. He's pulling back a little bit.
Because he fully understands that he can kill somebody. But he wanted to send the message, so, and I think a lot of people in those situations figure, well, Tyson's going to be the bad guy. Nobody likes Mike Tyson. He's the crazy person. I'm going to look like a hero in this thing. And he was dead wrong.
It's all set up, too. Why was the friend videotaping?
Yeah.
Why?
The whole thing is such an obvious setup.
Well, this is the reason why he wasn't in Gen Pop when he was in prison, right? Because could you imagine, like, every prisoner was going to try to measure themselves by going after Mike? And I'm sure people in outside do the same thing.
It's just we live in a very litigious society. That guy's going to sue Mike.
And he's thinking to himself in his drunken stupor, like, who's going to believe that Mike Tyson isn't the wrongdoer in this one?
Well,
and then to put out a video that shows that the guy's the wrongdoer.
I know. That's the funny part. Like, that's the part I'm confused about. It's his own friends seemingly filming him. Don't they know that by putting out the other video of him goofing on Mike, it makes him look completely like the aggressor?
Or maybe he just wanted his 15 minutes and it didn't matter anyway.
You know what? Maybe you're right.
Nozzle on plane still is, to some people, they're 15 minutes of fame.
That's my 15th book, by the way.
I thought it's the follow-up to Snakes on a Plane.
Right.
Nozzle on planes, yep.
Now, we talked earlier about during the Yankee game, Aaron Boone's decision to walk Miguel Cabrera. First base was empty. How many outs were there, Michael? Two outs. Men at second and third. He walks Cabrera to load the bases. However, it was Miguel Cabrera sitting on hit 2,999, and the crowd was not pleased when the intentional walk came. Let's hear what it sounded like on 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit.
And you have a left-hander on deck. I mean, when you think about it, it makes sense. But good luck getting out of town if you do it.
They are not. No, they are. Oh, man. Ron Gardenhire said Tom Kelly told him early in his career, stay away from the intentional walk, especially of the big guys, because it usually backfires, but also, Jim, because people are coming to see that guy hit.
Oh, please.
Nonsense.
Come on.
That's nonsense. And he even said before they walked him that's the thing to do. That's nonsense. I can't imagine Tom Kelly ever telling Ron Gardenhire that. So Tom Kelly was more consumed with entertaining the fans at the Metrodome than winning games for the Twins? Yeah. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Anybody that would shouldn't have a job. Now, we should all be concerned about entertaining the fans, but that's not the manager's job.
No, it's a no-brainer. They even said it. So why do they have to play that game? All right, they don't owe Cabrera anything. The Yankees owe, and Aaron Boone owes his team a better chance to win.
And I watched the entire game. And the 3 previous at-bats that Cabrera had, they didn't pitch around him. They went right after him. He had a chance to get a hit. The first time up, he almost did a home run. So, not like they pitched around him like, you're not getting 3,000 against us. They went right at him. Right at him.
But you wonder with some of these old school guys, right? Because you remember, what was it? Who was the pitcher? Garber that walked...
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
He didn't walk him. He threw him a breaking ball, and Pete Rose got mad.
But he didn't intentionally walk him. But still, Rose was like red hot. Like, what is he supposed to do? Serve up, a softball to you so you can keep your hitting streak going? But
yeah, he made it out on a breaking ball, a soft breaking ball.
Right. So it's some of these old school guys, I guess, do play the whole. Hey, come on, give him his shot. It's 162 games. What's the big deal? Oh, I'm sorry. We live in a world, especially in New York, where every pitch is dissected into a fine powder. So I don't think the Yankee fan, and rightly so, would have let Boone get up if they pitched to Cabrera. He got his 3,000th hit and 2 runs score. Now, they lost the game anyway, but you didn't know that at the time.
Yeah. So Austin Meadows hit a blooper that might have been able to be caught, but Gleyber Torres doesn't have great range out there, and it fell between him and it fell between, playing too deep was Aaron Hicks. But that was the only move. And then the other thing that I don't know who the broadcaster is, but to say you never walked a big guy at back far. Really? So you should pitch to Barry Bonds.
Right.
Buck Showalter pitched intentionally walked Barry Bonds with the bases loaded. And the other day, Joe Madden walked Corey Seager trailing with the bases loaded. Stop the nonsense. That was the only move to make. Don't be babies, Detroit.
No.
They'll get it tomorrow.
Now, for the Yankees have been held to 39 runs in their first 13 games. That ties their second fewest runs through 13 games in the live ball era since 1920.
I think it goes back to 1912, and I remember that year because that was the year my dad was born.
No, the 1912 was the shutout 3 times in the first 13 games.
Right.
Okay.
They were the last time the Yankees were shut out 3 times in the first 13 was 1912.
That's 110 years ago.
So you're saying this
so
isn't
you'd have to be at least 115 to remember it.
So you're saying it's not a great start, Tom, is what you're saying?
Oh, it's
but they're still 7-6.
Yay!
That is a silver lining.
You know me, I'm a glass half full guy. I always have been.
Especially, I'm not going to.
The milk is out of the lamp. Now, you've always been. When I think of Michael, the first thing I think is Michael half full K.
Especially health issues when something's bothering him. Right away.
He assumes it's fine.
Right. When Michael gets a headache, he's like, it just might be because I slept too long.
Yeah, he doesn't go right to, I probably won't make it till tomorrow.
Right. He never goes brain tumor.
No, never. Jay Williams on Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max talking about Steve Nash's struggles to adjust during big games.
So many people around the league have talked about Steve Nash's inability for in-game adjusting. And we saw that in their offense so many times in the second half. It was just, they were so stagnant. The ball died when it was in KD or Kyrie's hand. Nobody was moving off the ball. And that's when you talk about Boston going on a 23-4 run in the fourth quarter and coming back. This comes down to coaching to me.
Not good. Not good.
Now, you said
I wonder if they're going to get rid of him if they lose the series. This team is not built to lose in the first round when both guys are healthy.
I think there's an excellent chance, though, they'll say, hey, we made the trade for Harden thinking we were going to get a chance to have a healthy Simmons. We never did. We'll come back next year, regroup with Simmons, with the big three of Simmons, KD, and Kyrie, and we'll go get them. That'll be, if they go that route, then maybe Nash can survive. But if you get swept, Michael, and I don't think they will, but I don't think they're getting out of the series.
I think they'll win Saturday. And then, Ben Simmons comes back. All bets are off.
Now, you said they have experienced assistants, right?
Yeah.
So why can't they go to Steve? We got to make some adjustments here.
Maybe
or do they
are.
just, and he's just ignoring it? Then it is his fault.
Or maybe the players don't want to do the adjustments.
Then I guess it wouldn't matter how experienced the coach you had. But why wouldn't you want to make an adjustment? You want to lose the game?
They want to win it their way. I think they want to win it their way.
Well, their way is 0-2. And we just gave the stat earlier in the show, 92.4% of the time in that situation, you lose the series.
Now, since I'm a glass half full guy, which we just established, they lost the first game by 1 point. They led yesterday by 17 points. They have not been blown out. They are not overmatched in the series. So they can come back and win.
Yeah, but you still got to win 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Still got to play some defense.
We'll see.
What say you, Peter?
The milk
What
is out of the
say
lamp.
you?
I'm starting to feel that the Celtics are in a really great spot because I don't think the Nets have an answer offensively. I don't know if the Celtics keep up the kind of defense they've been, which is, to me, guys, very possible because the beauty of defense is its effort. If they keep up that effort, can KD and Kyrie get going? I mean, even before they were playing a team who's been as good defensively as the Celtics, who are currently, I believe, the best or second best defensive team in basketball. Even before that, guys, Michael's said it very often, and he's right. Kyrie and KD never seem to do it on the same night.
Right. And now they're going to have to do it, 4 out of the next 5. Now, that doesn't have to be unbelievable. I think Saturday they're both going to light it up. They're going to win in a walk-off. But
Peter,
then, that defense, and then they've still got to find a way to win in Boston in order to win the series.
Peter, that jacket you're wearing, is that beautiful suede?
It's beautiful butter soft leather.
Oh, that's great.
Goodness, it looks terrific.
Yeah,
none of that Corinthian
it's
garbage.
Called butter cloth. I believe that you had to get that free. If not, we're talking four bills.
Yeah, that's
4,000.
Really?
4 figures. Yeah, that's $1,000 coat.
No, it's not $1,000 coat. It's a very nice coat. It's from a company I love called All Saints. It's not a $1,000 coat. And I went to the outlet last week. How about that? When I was in Maryland,
beautiful.
Got this little ditty here.
Shining Wizards Kevin, by the way, just chimed in. He said, "I like to call Michael lamp half full kick."
See,
I like that.
He gets it. He gets it. Natalie and I are copying Michael and Jody's style and going to a premiere tonight.
What premiere?
We're ripping you off. Your gimmick. This is gimmick infringement.
Yeah.
There's a premiere of the final chapter of Ozark tonight.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Is this how you're dressing in that beautiful leather?
This is I'm ready to go right when the show ends. This is what I'm wearing. They're having
what's Nat wearing?
I don't know. I'll be sure to send you a picture.
Who asks that? Who does that?
Creep.
Really?
Oh, how's that creepy? I just want to know what she's wearing.
No, it's a creep show move. Seriously.
So Joan Rivers was a creep show when she be on the red carpet. What are you wearing?
Oh, but that was her job.
Well, my
You're
job
just
is
this
to ask
elderly
questions.
gentleman who's asking his co-host.
Elderly.
I'm just saying, compared to her, you're double her age, and it's his girlfriend. What's she wearing?
How old
it's
is Natalie?
creep show.
I didn't say what's she wearing right now before she gets dressed. I said, what is she going to wear to the premiere?
Right. It's still creepy.
Peter, let's stop with the jokes. Is that creepy?
You have a history that unfortunately lends itself.
How many chances you get?
I hate to do this, but if you were to bring in Andrew and ask him, I think he'd say, given your history, it was out of bounds.
Let's bring in Andrew. I think this is a totally innocent question by me. Andrew?
Yes.
Do you think that I'm being cringy and creepy?
Yes, you are. 100% you are.
Oh.
Forget the history. Like, why do you need to know?
There's no reason to.
The only reason anybody would need to know would be another woman making sure that she didn't wear the same thing as her at the premiere. Or if you're, Blackwell. Otherwise, why would you need to know?
I'm curious.
Because you're a creep show.
I'm not a creep show. It's not like I
I'm
asked for
not
a
a
picture.
creepo.
You're a creepo.
I wouldn't be shocked if you did.
You freak. Peter, can you shoot me a picture of the two of you
I'll
together?
make sure.
Okay.
I'll make sure I do that.
I think it was creepy you took a picture with her that they're showing on Yes.
Why? She wanted that picture. That wasn't for my camera. That was hers.
Where did it end up?
What do you mean?
Where did Yes get the picture?
Oh, I think I gave it them. I think.
I think
Oh no,
that
it
Peter
was on the
gave.
gram. I posted it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Maybe you get Peter in there just to kind of keep things,
Yeah,
honest.
that's a good. And well, by the way, you want to know about Creep Michael, Don? It's not only Natalie's going to be at the premiere tonight; it's Laura Stiles as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cookies.
Whole gang going out for the big Ozark premiere tonight. A little fiesta at the Plaza, Michael, right up your alley.
Well,
I gotta
that's where I got
watch that.
married.
Tell me a room to go to. I want to go pay tribute to the room.
I think 962, there was a lot of action there.
Sex.
I mean, where
That
was the
was the
actual
room?
wedding?
The main room, the Palm Court, I think it's called.
It's more of an arrangement than a marriage.
I want to find the area where your officiant probably drunkenly urinated. That's the spot I'm looking.
My officiant ended up being on The Masked Singer yesterday.
Oh, that finally happened?
Oh, they aired it finally?
Oh, my goodness. He was on The Masked Singer, and Ken Jeong got up and said, "I'm done," and walked off the stage. He didn't even joke.
No comment.
Just lay it
I
out.
hope we're still legally married.
I think I got your number, Gloria.
It was Brett Hull who actually married them, in case you're wondering.
Boy, it would age much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Brett Hull's at least been consistent. All right, guys, you want to hear? Let's hear from Joe Douglas.
Sure.
On his goals for the next season.
When you break it down to keeping the main things, it's going to be about developing and helping our young quarterback. Outside of that, it's about adding as many difference makers as you can to the roster, and making sure that they fit within the culture and the scheme that we're trying to provide. And then probably the third and most important thing is keeping those guys healthy, keeping them on the field as long as we can.
I would be shocked if they don't make a deal at the draft. Shocked. I don't know who, but you just heard him say it. Got to get weapons for their developing quarterback.
Well, maybe they could get weapons in the draft.
No, that's not the way it works, because then now you're developing together. You want to help the one guy develop, not the whole offense develop. You're going to bring in a kid who's going to be a year behind the quarterback you're trying to develop to help him develop, or do you want to bring in a known commodity? That's the way you develop.
The question I have, is Natalie going to be casual or evening wear?
I think it'll be cash vibes.
Okay.
Like cool casual to match me. I would
love it.
It's Ozark, not Gone with the Wind.
Thank you very much.
A lot of things go with the wind in Ozark.
Did you gave up on Ozark, didn't you?
I did watch the beginning of the season that's running now. Very dark. I listen. I've got dark thoughts the way it is. This
I'll tell you what. You weren't kidding about me starting. I started the Batman yesterday.
Yeah, that'll cheer you up.
Oh my God! I mean,
I'm sure your therapist is going to get a call.
Is it like the Joker? Is it like that dark?
It makes the
darker.
Darker.
It makes the Joker feel like a random episode of Growing Pains.
I don't even know why they even use color. I mean, it's essentially black and white.
Oh my God, it's darker than the Joker?
Yeah.
I didn't think you can get darker than that.
Yeah, they've completely darked this up. It's unbelievable.
Now I'm intrigued.
It's like a horror. I mean, like you remember, I told you guys yesterday about my friend who thought he was smoking CBD and ended up smoking the ganja.
Right.
He did the same thing. He turned on the Batman. Oh, it almost sent him into full hiding. It was that scary at the time.
This is so far from Adam West that it's non-quantifiable.
Let me put it this way. Adam West, if it started, and you're watching the movie The Batman, and in The Batman, Adam West Batman showed up in the scene and saw what was going on, he'd turn around and run out screaming.
Or he'd be hacked to death.
Right, or he'd just be immediately murdered. That's a good point. And you'd go, oh, my God.
Yeah, Gotham doesn't seem like a place that you really want to live.
No.
And you won't if you do.
You know, Gotham's got problems. There's no doubt. By the way, guys, the Giants picked up a tight end, Jordan Atkins, 4-year Texan to a 1-year deal.
So when he scores a touchdown, he does the Atkins shake in the end zone.
Oh, wow. That's...
It doesn't...
Here all week.
I mean, the Atkins shake isn't really a thing.
Yes, it is. I have an Atkins shake every morning.
Oh, it's a very specific joke.
Really?
I work to a very specific demo.
I just...
Overweight 60-year-olds.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Akins. You even said it wrong.
Oh, it's Akins. It's not Atkins.
Oh, it kills the joke then.
Now it's dead.
It's dead, Don.
Yeah, I'd say
can't do an Akins
the
shake.
milk is out of the lamp. I'd say it's akin to a big mistake.
Oh, I like that. Still doesn't recover.
No, Jordan Akins, 1-year deal.
What a clown.
Sorry, I apologize. Let's hear from Mike Tannenbaum.
Sure.
Have you seen Mike Tannenbaum lately? The guy looks terrific. He might have dropped like 90 pounds. He looks actually handsome.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he looks terrific.
Why'd you say actually?
Because I don't think he was handsome before.
Oh, my God.
No, he didn't get the job
He
on his
wasn't
looks.
ugly, but, I mean, it wasn't the guy that you'd stop and go, that's a good-looking man. Now you'd go, that's a good-looking man.
But if you need actually before you're handsome, I feel like it's bad. Let's hear from Tannenbaum on what the Jets should be doing this offseason.
Because he's a meaningful piece of the puzzle, and you got to spend your money somewhere and get it on a blue difference maker. The Jets had some good pieces this year, and Lawson should come back, but they haven't really added a frontline offensive difference maker. And he's a guy that can make Elijah Moore better, Corey Davis better. He is somebody that, and I've worked with a lot of defensive coaches in my career, Belichick, Parcells, Rex, Mangini, and they always talk about like what keeps them up at night. And a guy like Deebo Samuel, while he's not Tyreek Hill, they go into every game saying like we need a player and a half on him every single snap. You're going to shade the safety maybe to his side. He will create production for others. And while the Jets aren't there yet, they need to add blue chip players, and that's what Deebo is.
Before you continue, I love Mike, and Mike knows this. But when you start throwing in the great coaches you worked with, and you throw in Mangini, it's kind of like, I saw some great movies this weekend. I saw The Godfather. I saw Gone with the Wind. I saw It's Pat. No offense to Mangini, but sorry, Parcells, Belichick, Mangini.
But wait a
Which
second,
one doesn't-
Mangini was on The Sopranos.
He was.
Should they edit him out, Don?
Yes.
My favorite part of the Mangini episode of The Sopranos is that when Artie comes over and he's like, Mangini's here tonight. And Tony goes, he looks at Carm and he smiles and he goes, I should go say hello.
Yeah. Mangenius.
The Mangenius. Oh,
Mangini. Dun, dun, dun,
that will do it.
That was Joey's best song, by the way.
He's not a genie, he's a man.
That will do it for ENN. Brought to you by Sloman's. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME to get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Keep your family safe. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME. And Casa Noble. Sit back and celebrate Cinco de Mayo the Noble way with Casa Noble Tequila. The perfect tequila for all of life's meaningful moments.
I clapped longer than Don.
Thank you.
I don't know what's wrong. I guess Don didn't like it.
No, I love it. I told him this 22 is the year.
You know, the game already took place, but there was some rest roulette today. We'll break it down for the people and also take your phone calls. 1-800-919-3776. Kayla Greco-Rosenberg and you on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
Add drama to every drive. The exhilarating Audi SUV family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
10 years ago, we started Untuckit out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide.
It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale. Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping. Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
Now's the time to get a Ford built for you, by you. Pick your color, your wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want an F-150 with a 12-inch touchscreen, 400 horsepower and an Explorer, or a moonroof? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
We started Warby Parker to make glasses more affordable. But then we thought, why can't we do the same thing to contacts? So we did. Shop top contacts brands without the hidden fees, plus get free shipping and save 15% on your first order of contacts at warbyparker.com. When it comes to contacts, Warby Parker offers dozens of brands, including Scout, our very own comfortable, breathable, and affordable daily lens. Learn more about Scout or save 15% on your first order of contacts at warbyparker.com.
You could pick from hundreds of law firms for your mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer case. But would you be confident that you made the best choice? Whites & Luxembourg is the firm that has represented more asbestos disease clients than any other firm in the metropolitan area. With 30 years experience, they have New York's highest recorded asbestos verdicts of all time. The choice is clear, and the stakes could not be higher.
Whites & Luxembourg has our backs.
Call Whites & Luxembourg today.
Call 1-888-411-LAWS. That's 1-888-411-LAWS.
A Ford built for you, by you. Get yours. Built from the ground up with your choice of colors, wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want a head-up display and Escape, 7 GOAT modes in Bronco Sport, or a Ranger with best-in-class gas torque? You got it. And now get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. See your local Ford store for a Ford built for you, by you. Custom build your new Ford truck or SUV and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View special lease and financing deals at buyfordnow.com.
It's been 20 years since we first said yes.
There's a lot of tradition, a lot of history, and a lot of memories.
If you're a Yankee fan, now it's automatic. You know where to go.
That's one of the greatest games you will ever see.
You can't write this stuff, but there it was, right there on Yes.
That was real, and that was spectacular. Welcome to Brooklyn.
This is Yankee Army.
They're telling stories that they never get a chance to tell publicly.
It's synonymous with greatness in television.
It's amazing the impact the Yes Network has had.
20 years later, we're still saying yes.
When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was not just, working with my physical disabilities, I was emotionally broken. I remember thinking, how did I get here? How? It was affecting me in my marriage. My husband, he didn't know how to help me. He actually called Wounded Warrior Project. Wounded Warrior Project had this thing called Couples Odyssey.
It was an eye-opener, and I think it really saved our marriage.
They gave us books and resources and tools on how to help us with that. I just love him. I love you, honey.
Me too. Watching her fight for her mental health, fighting for other veterans, fighting for this family, helped me to fight too. Well, I always loved her, but I love her 10 times more for that.
Not all wounds are visible. If you or a loved one are suffering, visit woundedwarriorproject.org/notalone.
Kyrie Irving, 2 for 2. 3 for 3 from 3. The record for most points in an opening quarter boost is 46. And we have it right there. 48 points, a franchise record.
This is nasty.
Kyrie Irving looking for 50. Are you kidding me?
Did I say 60?
60! When you could get 60 in the flow of a game and guys supporting you and telling you to go after the record, this is what the game is about, bringing the love.
Special evening that we all are getting to witness.
He said, great ENN tonight, guys. My wife hates when I have the show on, but was cracking up today with ENN. I give it a 10. Why would she hate it, Danny? She's part of the family.
The rambling.
If you like it, we want her to like it. We do make people laugh. That's important.
Well, your
It's
wife was
important,
there.
Joe.
Huh?
She's not a sports fan.
Well, but, ENN transcends sports.
I agree.
All right, so today's starting lineup recap is brought to you by Nissan. Today, the rest roulette actually affected more than usual because Aaron Boone wanted to get Marwin Gonzalez to start. So Gleyber Torres was out. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was out. You know who else was out? Josh Donaldson. Time for him to get a rest, too.
Yep.
Now, you wonder who's going to rest tomorrow. Because the team's not hitting. Up and down the lineup, they're not hitting. Now, Rizzo's driven in runs. I believe he has 9 ribbies. But Gallo, I still think he doesn't have an extra base hit. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. In the 8th inning, when the game was 1-0, they had runners on first and third and nobody out, and they did not score.
Yeah.
Then they had bases loaded, 1 out, and they did not score.
Yeah, Judge walked, and then they were able to get Rizzo and Stanton on ground balls.
Yeah, Stanton's in a horrendous slump right now. So maybe coming back home tomorrow against the Guardians, maybe that'll snap them out of it. But the offense looks really, really light right now. That's tonight's starting lineup recap brought to you by Nissan. Nissan's an easier choice than ever with their exciting and fuel-efficient lineup. Now, get great offers across their full line. Shop at your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com. Don, you sounded like you wanted to say something.
You gave the numbers historically bad offensively. Shut out 3 times the first 13 games for the first time in 110 years. This is... Listen, you just can't excuse it with, it's just everybody slumping at the same time or it's cold. It's cold everywhere. There's a lot of teams that are hitting.
Go to
Mets have played all their games in cold weather, and their bats have been red hot.
They're the first team to 10 wins. Let's go to Alan in Brooklyn. Alan.
Michael.
Alan.
Yes. Why don't you tell me how great your boy Aaron Judge is?
He is great.
He's a piece of garbage.
Well,
really?
Really, Alan?
Really?
He turns down $30 million a year. What does he think he is, right? He thinks he's Trout or Betts, or maybe he thinks he's Mickey Mantle.
All right, Alan.
He'll
Let's
never get $30 million
let's have a friendly wager, okay?
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, when he signs a contract that's worth more than $30 million a year, I'd like you to call up and apologize. I bet it happens.
Not happening.
Well, unless he gets hurt. If he stays healthy, he's not. How could you say he's overrated? Then how did he finish second and fourth in MVP voting in 2 separate years? How does that make him overrated?
Why don't you look at him this year?
It's 13 games. Are you serious? It's 13 games.
He is not a great ball player.
Well, Mike Trout's having a bad start to a season. Shohei Ohtani won the MVP last year. He's gotten off to an awful offensive start. Is he terrible, too?
No, I don't follow them as closely.
Okay, I don't think you follow that. I think you follow the Yankees a bit too closely because you're not seeing it correctly.
But a piece of garbage, really.
He's literally the opposite of a piece of garbage.
Because the guy is gambling on himself. Actually, he's gambling on himself and risking over $200 million, and that makes him a piece of garbage?
Not I disagree. Not he should have taken the deal. I'm upset that he's struggling. He's a piece of garbage.
I got to tell you.
And you wonder why Kyrie Irving flips people off. Because don't tell me that stuff doesn't come from the stands either.
So can I ask you a question? Like, even though I think that was terrible and wrong, am I a bad guy for still the way it played out, finding it funny?
No, it could be funny. Because it's funny with its lunacy.
The way he set it up was so crazy. Oh, what are you about your boy Aaron Judge? What about him? He's a piece of garbage.
Have you seen the games? Like 13. By the way, the guy is 12 for 47, 255. I don't think that puts him on the hot piece of garbage list. He has 1 home run and 2 ribbies. You know what? I'll bet on Aaron Judge. Now, I think that was a really fair offer the Yankees made, and I think he's risking a lot by going for more. But if he has a healthy season and his numbers are where they usually end up, somebody's going to give him more. Maybe not the Yankees. Somebody will.
But he will look bad, Michael, if he has a full season and he underachieves. That'll make him look bad. You're betting on yourself. You better go out there and have a monster year. It's only 13 games. But, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 14 strikeouts, not a great start. But
in his
13 games.
In his 5 previous years, the 2 full years he finished second and fourth in the MVP. He's a great player.
Yeah.
And the Yankees wouldn't have offered him all that money if they didn't think he was a great player.
The only negative, he's been hurt. But
Right.
I think that caller was coming from a place of how dare you turn down the money? How dare you bet on yourself? You should be proud and happy to be a Yankee. And
I just love how people, 13 games, that's it. That is the season. 13 out of 162.
I'm not going to defend the piece of garbage, but I can understand a Yankee fan saying, all right, go out there and show me.
Right.
You got a fair deal. You turned it down. You're betting on yourself. Go out there and have a monster year. I think that's very fair. And if he doesn't have one, then he's the one that ends up losing. Maybe he'll still get the money anyway, but it won't be a great look to Yankee fans if he bets on himself and loses.
Right. And that's why he's putting pressure on himself. By the way, Aaron Boone not able to join us today at 4 because they had a game and they were flying, so he will join us tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Aaron Boone, his weekly spot will be Friday, tomorrow at 4 o'clock for this week. All right, so mark that down. Yeah, lots to talk to him about before the Yankees-Guardians series. All right, we'll come back. More phone calls, maybe more like Alan, right here on Yes at 98.7 ESPN.
I wish I could try these glasses on first. Here, step into the future where everything is possible. Welcome. Here you can try on Warby Parker glasses using only your phone.
Really? Wow, I like it here.
And I like these. You can stay, but I'll need my phone. Okay. Just shop prescription glasses starting at $95 and virtually try them on in the Warby Parker app.
In this town, you've got to make your own way. Here we learn from our losses and we work to earn what we know in our hearts to be ours. Representing the greatest city in the world everywhere we go. Because we are New York City. Together, we are undeniable.
Every drive is a joyride. The thrilling Audi sedan family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
It's one thing to build a truck, it's another to build a legacy. This is the Ford F-150 truck, the only one with an available Pro Power onboard generator, the one with an available work surface in the front and in the back, and the only one that's part of F-Series, the best-selling pickups for 45 years straight and counting. Custom build your new Ford F-150 and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View more offers at buyfordnow.com.
It's hard to think of that day. We didn't know this would be coming. Good job. We're dealing with a mass in the brain. You hear about it, stories of other people, but you don't think it's going to happen to you. Why? What happened? What could we have done? You don't know how to prepare for a 3-year-old for brain surgery. St. Jude has given us anything you need. You have no worries for food, transportation, treatment. Everything's taken care of. You feel very taken care of, and you feel like they actually care about your son. This is all made possible by people giving out, out of their kindness of their heart. I see my son's future when I look at him. I hope Abraham can grow up and just be happy. He'll just have a happy life.
It's been 20 years since we first said yes.
There's a lot of tradition, a lot of history, and a lot of memories.
If you're a Yankee fan, now it's automatic. You know where to go.
That's one of the greatest games you will ever see.
You can't write this stuff, but there it was, right there on Yes.
That was real, and that was spectacular. Welcome to Brooklyn.
This is Yankee Art.
They're telling stories that they never get a chance to tell publicly.
It's synonymous with greatness in television.
It's amazing the impact the Yes Network has had.
20 years later, we're still saying yes.
When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was not just, working with my physical disabilities, I was emotionally broken. I remember thinking, how did I get here? How? It was affecting me in my marriage. My husband, he didn't know how to help me. He actually called Wounded Warrior Project. Wounded Warrior Project had this thing called Couples Odyssey.
It was an eye-opener, and I think it really saved our marriage.
They gave us books and resources and tools on how to help us with that. I just love him. I love you, honey.
Me too.
Watching her fight for her mental health, fighting for other veterans, fighting for this family, helped me to fight too. Well, I always loved her, but I love her 10 times more for that.
Not all wounds are visible. If you or a loved one are suffering, visit woundedwarriorproject.org/notalone.
I've been corrected by our great listeners. Isaiah Kanafalefa was in the lineup today, so my apologies. I did see Marwin Gonzalez. Marwin Gonzalez played third. That's it, and Isaiah was at shortstop. So that's my bad. DJ was at second. So Donaldson was out, and Glaber was out, and Glaber pinch hit a single later on in the game. So thank you to all of our fans listening.
Nice.
Let's go to Alex in River Edge. Alex.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm disgusted because this Yankee team is not hitting at all. They haven't scored more than 6 runs in any of their games this year. 3 shutouts already, and I am really disappointed with the way what Brian Cashman did this offseason. He wouldn't break the bank on Correa and Freeman. If you had those 2 guys in the lineup, this team would be hitting a lot more consistently. Instead, he re-signed Rizzo, who's okay, and Gallo, he's nothing, and this team just can't hit. And if they want to win this division, they got to win about 50 out of 76 against the division, but I don't see that happening.
Well, I mean, the Freeman thing, you can't really be disgusted with Rizzo. He has 9 home runs. Not 9 home runs. He has 9 RBIs, so he certainly contributed. You could be disgusted with Gallo, and I understand Correa is actually a much better player than anybody the Yankees have at shortstop, but it would have cost, if you wanted to do it, over $300 million, and your 3 best prospects in the system, or 3 of your best prospects, definitely your top 2, are shortstops. One's in AAA, one's in AA. They didn't want to sign Correa. They didn't want to block those Volpe or Peraza. Sorry. They didn't want to.
Didn't we get a ton of phone calls from Yankee fans during the offseason saying they wouldn't want him because he's an Astro?
And he's not off to a great start, by the way, in Minnesota. Check it out. So imagine if they signed to a $300 million contract and he got off to a bad start, like what people did with Stanton. And opening day, by the way. So
what's Story doing in Boston? I don't think it's been
terrible.
Hey,
great. Don, I'm going to tell you what. The reason Yankee fans are ticked is that they didn't do anything sexy. They wanted something sexy. But the boos and the dissatisfaction would be even greater if they spent all that money on big names and they were still struggling. Now, I don't know if they'd still be struggling. Hey, you have a right to be angry after 13 games, but Everybody, come back to me. It's 13 games.
But again, the Yankee fans looks at not signing those big free agents as, well, we don't need them. We don't have to break the bank. We've got a good enough team. And so far, they're 7-6, and they're not hitting. So the feeling is, at least early on, that they were wrong. Now, it's very early, but it looks eerily similar to what we saw in the playoffs last year, what we saw for the bulk of the 60-game season a couple of years ago, where this team has not lived up to expectations offensively. So I can understand the frustration.
I hear it in the guy's voice. Like, that wasn't irrational. He's just really bummed out. I mean, expectations are what they are. And it's not just Yankee expectations. They're a team that, based on what they've done recently and the moves they've made, should be in the conversation.
Let's go to Dave in Adirondacks. What's up, Dave?
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
The site of the greatest sporting event of the 20th century.
David, your phone line is really bad. I'm so sorry. So you have to call back.
Yeah, sorry
about
about
to hear
that.
you. Mike in Hudson Valley.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call. Love the show. First-time caller. I listen to you guys all the time. Obviously, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I think the Yankees' problem is, Michael K., you've been covering the Yankees for years. They don't work the counts. Like, I've watched Yankee games for like 20-some years, and it's just, I understand they have a lot of power in that lineup and stuff, but I wish they, watching that game today, it's like they come up and they swing at the first and second pitchers. I'm like, come on, guys, work the counts.
But, Aaron Judge is always 3-2. So you can't say he doesn't work the count. Joey Gallo walks an awful lot, so you can't say he doesn't work the count. But I don't know if that's the issue. The issue is that they don't have the ability to play small ball. They're a home run or nothing team.
And Michael, I always admired in all those great Yankee seasons that they worked the count better than anybody.
Right.
And Brett Gardner was great at that. But the value in working the count back in the day was, get into the bullpen. But everybody's going to get to the bullpen anyway. So what's the benefit of getting the starter, unless it's like a real ace, of really working the count and getting the starter out there? The starter's going to leave before you get a chance to touch him anyway.
Right.
And then you're going to have to face the bullpen.
And there's no benefit to getting into bullpens because they're just bringing in guys that throw 100 miles an hour. In the old days, if you got to the underbelly of the bullpen like you did in 1998, you got lousy pitchers and you padded your stats.
So if the idea is to hit a home run, Michael, when you see a pitch you can hit, you swing at it.
Right. Tomorrow on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, guys are continuing to react to the NBA playoffs. There's one star that Jay Williams thinks could leave his playoff team after the season and join the Knicks. You won't want to miss that. More starting at 8 a.m. Eastern on 98.7 ESPN. And remember, Aaron Boone, a lot of questions for him, will join us at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Let's go to Matt and Comac. Matt.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Just a quick question. In the case that Aaron Judge walks in free agency, do you think that there's a shot that they can get Juan Soto in right?
Matt, in their dream, that would be the way to go. But the Nationals still control him for 2 years. I can't see Rizzo, their GM, giving up. What could the Yankees give them for Soto? And also, Soto's going to be your first $50 million a year player. Mark my words. He's represented by Scott Boras. Scott has his mind on that. He's going to be his first $50 million a year player. He fits great at Yankee Stadium, left-handed bat. He's young, but I don't know how they get him.
Well, the way they get him is if the Nationals realize there's no way they can pay him, they'll probably trade him before that day comes. But it won't be next year. So if Judge walks, would they piece something together for a year and then wait until they can trade for him? Because in his walk year, Michael, I can see the Nationals trading him if they're not going to give him $50 million a year.
Well, the word is the Nationals are being sold by the Lerner family.
That's what they say.
So I don't think that you better your product by trading away the best player, maybe in a generation. So I think they hold on to him and let the new owner try to sign him. And the new owner would probably want to throw around money and sign him.
Right, but that's the only way is that you trade for him because they can't afford to pay him. Or you wait till he becomes a free agent and outbid them.
And they gave him a really great offer. People criticize Aaron Judge. They gave him a tremendous offer. And he said no. And he's still 3 years away from free agency. Aaron Judge can see it. It's there. He could see it. It's at the end of this year.
Yeah.
He becomes a free agent when 29 other teams could bid on him. Soto turned down over $30 million a year. I think it was like a 10-year deal. Said no, thanks. I think it was $350 million for 10 years. He said no.
Well, Soto in some ways has more power than Judge because of his age.
Right. He'll be a free agent very young.
Yep.
All right, fun show today. Tomorrow, Aaron Boone will be at 4 o'clock, so we have a lot to talk about with him. Hope that you could join us as well. Yankees against the Guardians, the Mets against the Diamondbacks in Arizona, and then we're getting closer to the Nets and the Celtics Game 3, which will be on Saturday. We'll break that down as well. Have a great time at the premiere, Peter. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a great night.
That's a wrap on the show for today. I'm Chris Sheeran. For all of us here on The Michael Kay Show, we'll see you next time. Enjoy, everybody. The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
10 years ago, we started Untuck It out of my apartment, and today we have more than 80 stores worldwide.
It's been quite a journey. We didn't just create shirts designed to be worn untucked, we perfected them. With great fabrics and design at the perfect untucked length, so you can look sharp in this new business comfortable world. Just look for our signature sale.
Untuck It, 10 years in the making, and we're nowhere close to stopping.
Visit untuckit.com or your nearest store today.
Every drive is a joyride. The thrilling Audi sedan family. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Prescription eyewear can be really expensive, but here's the secret. Glasses don't actually cost that much to make. Surprise! Especially when you design your own eyewear and then sell it directly to your customers. Like we do. Oh hi, we're Warby Parker. Our glasses start at $95. Including prescription lenses. And the best part? You could try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
It's one thing to build a truck. It's another to build a legacy. This is the Ford F-150 truck, the only one with an available Pro Power onboard generator, the one with an available work surface in the front and in the back, and the only one that's part of F-Series, the best-selling pickups for 45 years straight and counting. Custom build your new Ford F-150 and get an extra $1,000 bonus cash. View more offers at buyfordnow.com.
We welcome you to Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. This afternoon, it's the final game of a 3-game set between the Yankees and the Tigers. Alongside Cameron Maben and Meredith Marakovitz, I'm Ryan Rucco.